I reborn a crystal spider beast, in the world of battle through the heavens. I never expected to wake up as a fragile crystal spider in a world where only the strong survive. But fate had other plans. His shimmering, ethereal form caught the eye of Xiao Yixian, a kind-hearted yet deadly genius who took him in as her pet. Just when he thought he was doomed to a life of captivity, a mysterious feedback system awakened, binding his fate to Xiao Yixian. For every level she ascended, he received 10 times the power in return. From a weak, helpless creature to an unseen force lurking in the shadows, Chuan became Xiao Yixian's secret mentor, whispering forgotten knowledge, refining lethal poisons, and leading her to unimaginable heights. Chapter 1. Bind to little medical fairy at the beginning and get 10 times the feedback. Hiss. Where is this? As soon as Chuan opened his eyes, he was surrounded by green. He looked around and saw that he was actually on a blade of grass. Is this shrunk? Chuan quickly lowered his head and looked at his body. There are colorful lights on the surface of its body, and it has 8 crystal clear spider legs that do not look sharp. He suddenly felt his brain dizzy. I must be dreaming. I was reincarnated as a spider just after waking up. And it's not some extremely dangerous death wolf spider. His little unique spider legs are quite nice. But what's the use of looking good? He just wanted to have a cup of coffee to wake himself up after working overtime at the company all night, but he fell asleep right after drinking the coffee. When they woke up, the cows and horses turned into spiders. Chuan couldn't accept it in his heart. Even turning into a pig is better than turning into a spider. If given a choice, he still wants to be a human being. Roar. Suddenly, a beast roar came from not far away. Chuan felt his whole body tense up, as if someone was secretly watching him in the dark. The surroundings seemed a little dangerous for a small, cute, exquisitely colored spider like him. If things go wrong, you may become a delicious meal for the hunter at any time. Field. It is the most dangerous for a spider like him who has no ability to protect himself. Chuan blinked his 8 spider eyes and looked around. As long as he could survive, at least there was still hope for his spider life. In the previous life, I worked like a slave and now I have to buy my own coffee to exploit myself. He inexplicably traveled through time and space and turned into a spider. He wanted to live a little longer. However, at this time, Lu's 8 spider eyes met the eyes of an extremely terrifying creature. Green lizard. Chuan, who has been the biology class representative since high school, knows that spiders are in the food chain of this green lizard. This is a fucking predator. Natural enemy. Starting with a difficult copy. Chuan felt a chill on his spider back, and it seemed as if 1,000 alpaca horses were galloping through the waves in his heart. Chuan even saw crystal clear saliva flowing from the corners of the green lizard's mouth. Help. Any hesitation at this time would be a disrespect for your own life. Chuan swung his 8 spider legs and started running wildly on the huge grass leaf. However, he soon felt a huge fluctuation coming from behind the grass leaves. That green lizard has taken a fancy to me. Chuan ran even faster this time, and all 8 spider legs were smoking. But even when he was on the run, he knew not to flee blindly. Because lizards all have long-range attack capabilities. Chuan separated his 2 spider eyes and looked back. The green lizard had opened its mouth, and its pink tongue shot out like a bullet, targeting Chuan. Don't stick out your tongue. Can you please be more civilized? Chuan jumped up quickly and narrowly avoided the fatal pink tongue. However, this delay allowed the green lizard to move closer with great agility. No, just running away is not a solution. Chuan saw the tip of the grass leaf, so he decisively took a leap of faith. The green lizard was staring at Chuan's sweet spider body with burning eyes, and then it jumped down, spraying its tongue towards Chuan in midair. There is no way to dodge in the air. It seems that this green lizard is quite smart. However, it forgot. Chuan is a spider. Call out. The sticky spider silk shot out and stuck firmly to the top of the grass leaf. Chuan dodged the green lizard's tongue again with an incredible arc. That was a close call. Chuan's body was suspended in the air by spider silk and swayed back and forth. If it weren't for this spider silk, I would have become the green lizard's lunch. I have to run away before that lizard comes back to find me. Chuan cut the spider silk and landed on the ground as quickly as possible. Just when he was about to run away, he found that the green lizard was waiting not far away with a playful look on its face. Lu Chuan slapped his forehead. Well, I'm dead now. However, just as the green lizard was about to rush to Lu Chuan's face to enjoy a delicious meal, a huge shadow loomed over it. Huh, I have never seen such a beautiful spider. A soft and tender girl's voice was heard. It sounds very nice, just like the sound of a lark. The moment the sound came out, the green lizard ran away in panic as if it had seen some prehistoric monster. Lu Chuan raised his 8 spider eyes and looked. She is a very beautiful woman in white. Then, a pair of white hands reached out to him. Lu Chuan's eyes went dark and he was put into the bamboo tube. Next, Lu Chuan felt a shaking accompanied by the girl's unique fresh body fragrance. He felt a little uneasy. Although I was able to avoid a life and death crisis because of this human woman, since she is not of my kind, her heart must be different. He is not human now. Once a spider falls into the hands of a human, even if that human looks very beautiful, it does not mean that it is safe. Lu Chuan once heard that some humans would catch spiders and fry them to eat. Just as he was lamenting the brevity of his spider life, a light suddenly appeared. Lu Chuan was poured into a bamboo basket by the woman in white. Just as he was about to escape, he was blocked by the white mesh cover. Little guy, you must be hungry, eat something. Seeing this beautiful girl in white approaching with food, Lu Chuan was stunned. Are you treating yourself as a pet? Lu Chuan looked at his glittering outer shell and suddenly felt that it must be his handsome and dashing appearance that played a key role. It seems that everything is fine for now. At this moment, just as the woman in white put the food into the basket, a mechanical sound suddenly rang in Lu Chuan's head. Congratulations to the host, the binding feedback system has been activated, and the binding target is now Xiao Yixian. Closing square bracket. System. Lu Chuan was so moved that tears were about to flow from his 8 eyes. Good news for time travelers and a powerful weapon for those who are reborn. This is his capital for surviving in another world. Although the system is late, it will never be absent. Etc. Little medical fairy. Lu Chuan widened his spider eyes and looked at the smiling beautiful woman in white in front of him. Have I traveled to the world of Fight's break sphere? And it is also bound to Xiao Yixian. It turns out that the little medical fairy is so beautiful. For a moment, Lu Chuan became excited. Doesn't that mean there's still a chance to meet? Medusa, Xiao Zuner, tisk tisk. Lu Chuan thought of something pleasant. It is detected that the host is activating the system for the first time, and a system gift package is given as a gift. Do you want to open it? Closing square bracket. Lu Chuan suppressed his excited heart and calmed his trembling hands. There is also a newbie gift pack, which is great. This is the treatment a time traveler should have. Open it, open it. Anyone who doesn't open it is a fool. At this moment, the system prompt sound echoed in Lu Chuan's mind. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a body that is immune to all poisons and the power of regeneration. Closing square bracket. Chapter 2. Little Medical Fairy, Can This Little Guy Talk? The next moment, Lu Chuan felt that his body was changing. A streak of purple light seemed to flash across the shell. And a feeling of comfort that I have never experienced before fills my body. He could feel that each of his spider spears was filled with power, and his 8 eyes could feel the clarity of the entire world. Lu Chuan feels particularly energetic now. This is probably why the vitality has become stronger. Remembering that after the system appears, he should be able to check his system panel, Lu Chuan whispered. System panel. Now, at this time, a blue square appeared in the lower right corner of Lu Chuan's vision. The transparency would not block Lu Chuan's normal vision at all. This system is quite considerate. At this point, all the information on the panel is displayed. Host. Lu Chuan. Race. Crystal Spider. Currently bound to Little Dr. Fairy. Constitution. Body immune to all poisons. Ability. Regeneration, Exploration. Cultivation. Ordinary Realm, Soul Realm, Late Mortal Realm. This interface is quite fast, but some nouns only have a name and no explanation at all. It's like a body immune to all poisons, or a regenerative power. But these fonts seem to be different from the others. Lu Chuan raised the sharp spike of his spider leg and lightly tapped the 4 big words, Body of All Poisons. On the original interface, a layer of explanatory text suddenly appeared. Body immune to all kinds of poisons. Immune to all kinds of poisons, can absorb toxins to improve cultivation, and has a strong ability to control toxins within a certain range. Closing square bracket. This system actually has a touch function. If you want to know the information, just click on the interface to get the explanation. Not bad, not bad. With this body that is immune to all poisons, wouldn't that make you the Poison King? Not only is it immune to toxins, it can also be controlled within a certain range. If used well, this is an extremely amazing skill. Comfortable. Lu Chuan looked at his abilities. This regenerative power. Click. Regeneration power. Regeneration of broken limbs. Any tissue in the body can be regenerated, as long as the tissues of the whole body are not annihilated at the same time. Even if only a head is left, it can be regenerated. Closing square bracket. Hiss. This is an extremely terrifying way to save lives. The only problem with this regenerative power is that if it regenerates in front of a strong person, he might be watched all the time. That's a bit uncomfortable. Alas, even if you have a way to save your life, you still need strength. As for the second ability, detection, it can provide Lu Chuan with a holographic perspective within a certain range. This was of great help to him in obtaining information. After all, he is just a spider now. If you can't see the whole picture, you may make a wrong judgment and lose your life. Tisk tisk tisk. Lu Chuan took a deep breath. At present, it seems that this system provides quite comprehensive capabilities. There are attacks, assistance, and life-saving. It's cool, but there's a problem. That is, all of these must be linked to one's own strength. Lu Chuan is now 100% sure that this is the world of fights break sphere. That method is not enough. Lu Chuan's top priority is to improve his strength as soon as possible. Otherwise, no matter how good your abilities are, they will not be able to play a role. He now knows that his cultivation is at the mortal level. This should be the level of ordinary animals, not even a low-level magical beast. In other words, any animal can kill itself with a slap. Lu Chuan was a little embarrassed. Animals have no intelligence, but he can still rely on the power of regeneration to save his life. But if I get eaten by that ugly green lizard like before? Lu Chuan felt sick just thinking about it. These are just ordinary animals. If you encounter a monster, you can just wait for death. And below the level of cultivation, there is also a realm of the soul. It must be because I am a time traveler that I have only reached the late stage of the mortal realm. Too weak. Just by feeling it, Lu Chuan felt that his body was revealing a sense of weakness. The skills and physique are very strong, but there is no foundation for cultivation. It's as if Lu Chuan is guarding a pile of treasures in his body, but he feels powerless and cannot use them. However, this system is now bound to Xiao Yixian. As long as you help Xiao Yixian practice, her cultivation level will improve and you can get 10 times the return. 10 times. This cultivation speed can be said to be at the level of cheating. The next focus is to help Xiao Yixian improve his cultivation. This is also equivalent to improving one's own cultivation. As long as Little Medical Immortal's cultivation level increases quickly, my own cultivation level will soar like a rocket. It makes me happy just thinking about it. But next, how to help the Little Medical Fairy to practice. At this time, Lu Chuan closed his eyes and began to feel the state of system binding. Soon, he could clearly feel that there was a line connecting his consciousness with Little Medical Fairy. Any emotional fluctuations of the Little Medical Fairy can be felt by Lu Chuan through this line. This thread even allowed him to have a soul-to-soul conversation with Little Medical Fairy. This should be the communication ability unique to Lu Chuan and the object he is bound to. Lu Chuan started to investigate at this time, and holographic images of the surroundings emerged in his mind. Little Medical Fairy was sitting alone in an old-looking tent, busy sorting out herbs. At this time, footsteps were heard outside the tent. Tread, step. Lu Chuan talked about the expansion of the scope of holographic images. Outside the tent, I saw a middle-aged man dressed as a mercenary walking towards me. Currently, Lu Chuan's largest holographic image can only cover 10 meters. All he could see was this middle-aged man, but he could still tell that the man had no ill intentions. Little Medical Fairy, are you almost done collecting herbs? Can we go back now? The mercenary man did not enter the tent, but squatted behind the curtain and asked. The attitude is quite gentle. The Little Medical Fairy stood up, clapped her hands, and carefully counted the collected herbs. He even took a special look at Lu Chuan. Yeah, almost. The Little Medical Fairy covered the bamboo basket with a black cloth and then stretched lazily. Get ready to go back. Then there was a rustling sound. After the little medical fairy collected the herbs, the middle-aged mercenary came to pack up the tent. Lu Chuan felt the bumps in the bamboo basket. The surrounding holographic images also became shaky. This made Lu Chuan feel a little carsick, and he quickly turned off the probe. I don't know how long it took. When the black cloth on the bamboo basket was lifted again, they arrived at a pink room. At first glance, this looks like the little medical fairy's boudoir. Lu Chuan could also smell a sweet scent unique to girls. Little guy, from now on, you should stay here well. The little medical fairy placed the basket on the table and patted the rim affectionately. A smile appeared on Lu Chuan's lips, and he immediately responded through the connecting line. Okay. The little medical fairy's whole body stiffened instantly. Who is speaking? She turned around and looked around the boudoir for a few times. After making sure that there was no one there, she couldn't help but look at Lu Chuan. Could it be, the little guy is talking? Chapter 3 Activate the Poisonous Body. Looking at the little medical fairy's bright eyes, Lu Chuan coughed lightly. Since we are in a relationship of mutual help, we must come clean. Yes, it's me. Lu Chuan's voice sounded directly in Xiao Yixian's mind. Well, the little medical fairy was startled and immediately raised her head to look again. The sound just now was not heard by the ears. Could it be that I was being targeted by some powerful being? Xiao Yixian was a little scared inside. She walked carefully to the bedside, took out a dagger from under the pillow and slashed it at the air a few times. Come out, I see you. Don't play tricks. Xiao Yixian's breathing was short and her eyes kept scanning around, but she never looked at Lu Chuan again. Maybe she didn't think Lu Chuan could speak deep down. Ordinary spiders certainly can't speak, but can Lu Chuan be ordinary? Forehead. At this moment, Lu Chuan felt speechless as he watched the little medical fairy fighting wits and courage with the air. He revealed his cards, but Xiao Yixian didn't believe him. There was no other way. Lu Chuan could only try to talk to Xiao Yixian through the soul link again. Don't look around, it's me, I'm Spider-Man. Xiao Yixian's eyes widened and she covered her ears with her hands. Get out of my brain. Calm down. Lu Chuan knew that in this situation, he could only guide slowly. Look at me first, look at the spider. Little medical fairy listened to the voice in her head, put her whole body into a defensive posture, and glanced into the basket tensely. At this time, the little spider in the basket was spinning silk and writing at the same time. Soon, the spider silk formed several big words in the basket. That's me. After Lu Chuan spit out the silk, he suddenly felt a little weak. Alas, no, I have to start practicing quickly. Now you should believe that it is me, right? In order to cooperate with the soul link, Lu Chuan even raised his two front spider legs towards Xiao Yixian. It's really you. The little medical fairy swept away her previous nervousness and quickly came to the basket, looking at Lu Chuan with her big watery eyes, a hint of excitement on her face. She didn't expect that the little spider she picked up casually would be so strange. A talking little spider. Moreover, little medical fairy could feel that this voice was ringing directly in her mind, and she could also communicate directly with little spider without opening her mouth. Could this be the legendary telepathic connection? The little medical fairy's pretty face blushed slightly, and her eyes were filled with a doting smile as she looked at Lu Chuan. However, Lu Chuan felt that he had to correct Xiao Yixian's thoughts. No, it's because we both have similar physiques. There was a hint of surprise on little Dr. Fairy's face. Constitution, she never thought there was anything special about her physique since she was a child. You don't know it yet, but you are a 1 in a million person with a poisonous body. As long as you swallow poison, you can improve your cultivation. All toxins can be automatically transformed to improve your cultivation. Lu Chuan explained to Xiao Yixian. However, Xiao Yixian was a little skeptical, but I have never felt this kind of effect. That's because you haven't taken poison. Lu Chuan explained, look at your lower abdomen. Is there a line on your belly button? This pattern represents the evil poison body. Lu Chuan knew that the possessor of the evil poison body was born with a thin, colorful hidden line on the lower abdomen. This colorful line will grow according to the concentration of toxicity contained in the body. When the colorful lines extend to the heart, it is the strongest moment of the poisonous body. At the same time, the owner will suffer from the pain of being devoured by thousands of poisons. All owners of the poisonous body will become addicted to poison. The more potent the poison, the more attractive it is to them. In order to obtain the poison, they would even kill people for it. To them, the poison is as attractive as strange fire to alchemists. They will pounce on it without hesitation like moths to a flame. This is the aftereffect of the activation of the evil poison body. But Lu Chuan has a way to help Xiao Yixian control this kind of sequelae, so there is no need to tell her and scare her. When Xiao Yixian heard Lu Chuan's words, she pulled open her clothes and indeed saw a colorful hidden line on her flat and tender belly. If you don't look carefully you can't see it at all. It's actually true. Before this, Xiao Yixian herself hadn't noticed this hidden line, but now that Spider-Man pointed it out directly, she already believed it a little in her heart. The reason why you didn't feel anything before is because taking poison is a condition for the activation of the evil poison body. Lu Chuan could feel the emotional fluctuations of the little medical fairy, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Now you can take out some poison and we can swallow it together. But if it doesn't work, I will. Xiao Yixian never took poison on her own initiative, and there was still a trace of resistance in her heart. You can put the antidote next to it. Now Lu Chuan asked Xiao Yixian to take out the poison. The first reason was that he also needed to swallow the poison to improve his cultivation, and the second reason was to activate Xiao Yixian's poisonous body. The little medical fairy was a little moved. After all, she really wanted this kind of practice where one could gain cultivation by swallowing poison. She is a doctor herself and always keeps a lot of herbs in her room. Some of them are poisonous. The little medical fairy took out some poisonous grass leaves and put them in the basket. Lu Chuan opened his mouth and swallowed. As soon as these poisonous herbs entered Lu Chuan's body, they immediately turned into fighting spirit. When the little medical fairy saw that Lu Chuan actually ate the poisonous grass on his own initiative, he ate a small bit of it with doubt. Soon, she felt changes in her body. Little medical fairy actually felt the poison entering her body turning into fighting spirit. At this moment, she completely believed what Lu Chuan said. And she could clearly feel the existence of the colorful hidden lines in her body. This means that the evil poison body has indeed been activated. And at the moment when the little medical fairy devoured the poisonous grass to gain fighting spirit, Lu Chuan immediately received feedback from his body. That is 10 times the fighting spirit gained by little medical fairy. Since little medical fairy is still a little afraid and doesn't dare to eat too many poisonous herbs, even if it is increased tenfold, the fighting spirit that Lu Chuan obtained this time is still not enough for him to break through from an ordinary spider to a magical beast. But this is just the beginning. It's only a matter of time before Lu Chuan breaks through and becomes a warcraft. At this time, Xiao Yixian was very happy when she found out that Lu Chuan did not lie to her. She reached out and held Lu Chuan in her palm, then put her sweet lips close to him and kissed him gently. At this moment, the fragrant, sweet, soft and sticky feeling made Lu Chuan's heart rippling. It's really great, little Dr. Fairy's first kiss. Little guy, you are so amazing, do you have any other skills? The little medical fairy blinked her beautiful big crystal eyes and looked at Lu Chuan. I can also help people get rid of poison. Lu Chuan smiled calmly and said, if anyone is poisoned, I can suck it out for him. Chapter 4. Breakthrough. Promoted to a warcraft. When the little medical fairy heard that Lu Chuan could expel poison, she immediately thought of taking it with her when she went out to see patients. This is Qingshan town. There are many mercenaries and many people going up the mountain. Often, all kinds of people get injured for different reasons. Among them, the proportion of poisoning is not small. In the past, people could only prescribe corresponding antidotes or take them orally or apply them on the skin to detoxify. But it will take a little longer to take effect. If we had this little guy, wouldn't we be able to detoxify immediately? Thinking of this, Xiao Yixian had already made up her mind. The next day she planned to take the little one to the clinic. What are you thinking about? Just when Xiao Yixian was immersed in her fantasy about the next day, Lu Chuan woke her up. Are there any more poisonous weeds? I want to eat more. This is what Lu Chuan wanted to test the conversion rate of the all-poison body. Yes, but are you sure it's okay to eat so much poison? The little medical fairy was afraid that this little guy would kill himself. But she was obviously overthinking. During the whole night, no matter how many poisons Xiao Yixian took out, they were all consumed by Lu Chuan, a spider. At this time, Lu Chuan had an idea in his mind. The effect of the body of all poisons is extremely strong. Its conversion efficiency is even higher than that of the evil poison body. However, after Xiao Yixian transformed the poison, Lu Chuan could obtain a tenfold increase in his fighting spirit. Therefore, compared to Lu Chuan's cool poison, the cultivation gained by Xiao Yixian from swallowing the poison should not be underestimated. The next day, the little medical fairy got up early in the morning and dressed herself up. Lu Chuan was awakened by the sound. Seeing the little medical fairy putting on a medical robe to cover her slender waist, Lu Chuan was still wondering, what was she going to hide in such a big coat? Then he knew it the next second. A sly smile appeared on the beautiful face of the little medical fairy. She put her snow-white, delicate hands into the basket. Come into my sleeve quickly, and accompany me to the clinic to remove poison from people. In the sleeve, Lu Chuan watched the little medical fairy put on her clothes. Under the wide sleeves, there was only a lavender shoulder strap vest. Lu Chuan followed his slender jade fingers into Xiao Yixian's sleeves and moved on her soft, smooth and elastic skin. Just hide it well, don't move around. Xiao Yixian's face flushed slightly as she pinched her cuffs tightly, her voice a little shy, if you move around in there, your hands will itch. Lu Chuan had no choice but to find an arm's length to stop. Seeing how obedient Lu Chuan was, Xiao Yixian bit her lips and laughed. Then she left Wanyaojai and took Lu Chuan to the clinic to see patients. Ordinary patients don't need Lu Chuan, so Xiao Yixian can handle them herself. The delicate arms kept shaking, causing Lu Chuan to almost fall into Xiao Yixian's armpits several times. He is afraid too. He was afraid that Xiao Yixian would not be able to hold back and slap or crush him to death. Fortunately, Xiao Yixian was very aware of Lu Chuan's location and often reminded him not to wander around. In Qingshan town, if you are injured or poisoned, it is cheaper to see a doctor for treatment than to buy medicine. This is a typical case of exchanging money for time. The elixir can remove poison immediately without delaying the mercenary's adventure, but it is expensive. The herbal treatment by the physician requires cultivation, so it is cheap. Not everyone is that rich. Therefore, the clinic is often full of patients. Soon, Lu Chuan's first patient arrived. Doctor, please save my friend. He has been poisoned by a snake and has fainted. A mercenary rushed in with a panicked look on his face, holding another young man whose body was almost purple. The little medical fairy reached out and touched the pulse. His face suddenly changed. With such a serious snake venom, if she had been brought here later, she would probably have died. The mercenary also knew that anyone poisoned by this kind of snake venom could only survive for 1 or 2 hours. All he can do now is try his best to save the situation. The doctor next to Xiao Yixian walked up to take a look and immediately shook his head. Your friend is no longer alive. He only has 1 breath left. We are not omnipotent. Let's prepare for his funeral. The mercenary turned pale and fell to his knees. Please, save him, he is my best friend. Little medical fairy felt a little bit reluctant when she saw the almost desperate mercenary. Let me take a look, maybe there will be a miracle. She came to the mercenary who had fainted and was only breathing, lifted his sleeves, and said to Lu Chuan in her mind, he is so deeply poisoned, can he still be saved? Under the cover of Xiao Yixian's slender jade fingers, Lu Chuan slipped into the mercenary's sleeve, then bit his skin and began to absorb the drug. Don't worry, it will work. Lu Chuan likes this kind of patient the most. They can absorb a large amount of toxins in a short period of time, which is very comfortable. Soon, under Lu Chuan's absorption, the skin of the unconscious mercenary improved visibly. The purple color on his body, which represented poisoning, dissipated, leaving only pale skin. Although the person was still very weak, it was obvious at a glance that the poison had been dispelled. Hic! Lu Chuan burped and quickly returned along the same path to hide in the snow-white jade arms of the little medical fairy. The little medical fairy used her other hand to pretend to wipe the sweat off her face. I have helped you dispel the poison, but he needs to rest for at least half a month before he can act again. The mercenary saw with his own eyes that the poison on his brother had receded, and he knelt down in front of the little medical fairy. The doctor is truly a fairy, we will never forget your life-saving grace. It was the first time that Xiao Yixian was so grateful to a patient, and she was deeply touched. She has been determined to practice medicine and save lives since she was young. Now, when she looks at this patient, her eyes are glistening. After seeing how Lu Chuan could tease the person he rescued even though he was poisoned and had 1 foot halfway in the coffin, Xiao Yixian completely believed in his ability. From then on, whenever someone was poisoned, the little medical fairy would ask Lu Chuan to take action. Even if it was a slight poisoning, the little medical fairy would block it and let Lu Chuan inhale it. In the hands of the little doctor, treating poisoning is as easy as treating a cold. In just a few days, the little medical fairy became famous. She is affectionately called the medical fairy of Qingshan town by all patients. These days are the most exciting days for Xiao Yixian since she started practicing medicine. Now she almost completely trusts Lu Chuan's words. Under Lu Chuan's guidance, Xiao Yixian would take a little poison every night. This thing is addictive once you start. Few people can resist this easy improvement in cultivation. Little medical fairy is no exception. After receiving the tenfold return on his cultivation from Xiao Yixian, Lu Chuan's cultivation level improved rapidly. Finally, the 8th day. Cultivation breakthrough. Lu Chuan officially became a first-level magical beast. The body became slightly larger, and the purple light on its shell seemed to be brighter. To be precise, Lu Chuan felt that he had become handsome again. Just at this moment, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the first-level Warcraft. Reward the host with a breakthrough week. Closing square bracket. Lu Chuan was immediately surprised. It turned out that there was a reward for breaking through the first level. Chapter 5. The Poison Emperor Sutra. Transform into an old grandfather to educate the young medical fairy. Open the gift bag. Lu Chuan took a deep breath. The gift packages rewarded by the system at this time are usually very useful. Sure enough, the next second, the system's voice appeared again. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Poison Emperor scripture. Closing square bracket. As the system voice fell, Lu Chuan felt a ball of dark green light appear in his mind. He touches with his consciousness. In an instant, the vast amount of information almost directly controlled Lu Chuan. He needs a lot of time to slowly digest this information. The Poison Emperor scripture records the configuration of countless poisons, the refining process, the required ingredients, and the fighting skills that can be used in conjunction with them. The fighting skills in the Poison Emperor Sutra all require poisonous fighting spirit to be effective. The various configurations of toxins dazzled Lu Chuan. Toxins of different strengths could kill enemies of different levels of cultivation. It can even allow people to enter the Imperial realm through poison. In order to match the use of poisons, there are also many terrifying poison fighting skills. He knew very well that these all required poisonous fighting spirit to be used. However, Lu Chuan is just a spider now. He couldn't use any of these poison configurations or fighting skills. It seems that Lu Chuan can only transform himself into an old grandfather and train the little medical fairy. Only the little medical immortal can concoct better poisons, so her cultivation can be improved faster. After all, Xiao Yixian is stronger, so Lu Chuan's cultivation can be stronger with the tenfold increase. At this time, he was hiding in the sleeves of little medical fairy. Since there were not many people poisoned today, Lu Chuan hid beside the round, soft and delicate shoulders of the little medical fairy. Seeing that it was getting late, Xiao Yixian prepared to close the clinic and go back. Jing, it seems that there aren't many poisoned people for you to suck today. How about we take some poison from the clinic back for you to take? The little medical fairy came to the warehouse where poisons were stored in the clinic and picked up a dried poisonous scorpion. After spending some time together, the little medical fairy gave Lu Chuan the name, Jing. She couldn't just keep calling Lu Chuan, little guy, right? Because Lu Chuan's surgery looked crystal clear and beautiful like crystal, she gave it this name. Well, let me tell you about some herbs. When you find them, bring them back and I'll teach you how to make a poison called bone erosion water. Bone eroding water is the lowest level of poison recorded in the Poison Emperor Sutra. But its poison is enough to kill any strong person below the level of Do Ling in seconds. It's not that Lu Chuan doesn't want to teach Xiao Yixian how to prepare more advanced poisons. The truth is that the types of medicinal materials in this clinic in Qingshan town are limited. High-end poisons definitely require more advanced raw materials to be prepared. Bone eroding water. Although she had never heard of little medical fairy, she was very familiar with the medicinal herbs that Lu Chuan mentioned in her mind. After all, I have been in this clinic for many years, and it didn't take long to gather all the necessary medicinal materials. But Xiao Yixian had never prepared poison before. After all, which serious doctor would specialize in this kind of poison research? But now, Xiao Yixian has activated her poisonous body, and the toxin contained in ordinary poisonous herbs is not enough for her. She was also worried about how to get a more advanced toxin. So when Lu Chuan said this, Xiao Yixian did as he said obediently. Carrying the materials needed to refine the bone-eroding water, Xiao Yixian returned to her room. We can only provide one serving here. Is that enough? The little medical fairy looked at the herbs on the table with some suspicion. As long as we don't fail, that's enough. Lu Chuan crawled out from the little medical fairy's clothes, stood beside her snow-white neck, and stepped on her delicate collarbone with his spider legs. Next, listen carefully. I'll tell you about this toxicology knowledge. When you prepare it, be careful. Okay. The little medical fairy sat on the chair obediently and nodded. A qualified doctor will inevitably have to deal with toxins. As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will win every battle. Xiao Yixian is very interested in this toxicological knowledge. Moreover, the knowledge that Lu Chuan explained to her mind was something she had never heard before. This novel feeling made Xiao Yixian addicted. As she listened, she sighed. Jingjing is so knowledgeable that she even knows such unpopular knowledge. Soon, after understanding all the steps needed to prepare the bone-eroding water, Xiao Yixian began to try it carefully. Because there is only one copy of the material, she can only succeed and cannot fail. Lu Chuan was also very excited at this time. In order not to affect the operation, he lay on Xiao Yixian's head throughout the whole process and watched every step of the operation nervously. If someone gets a little bit of bone-corroding water on them, their entire body will be corroded by the poison within minutes, and their entire skeleton will turn into a charred black body. This is an extremely potent and terrifying toxin. Lu Chuan was also worried that if Xiao Yixian got touched by it accidentally, it would be the end if she couldn't absorb it. Soon, under Lu Chuan's precise guidance at every step, the little medical fairy finally prepared the bone-eroding water. Success at once. The little medical fairy raised her hands excitedly. However, the next second, she suddenly turned pale, and the tip of her index finger quickly began to turn black. Oh no, I was too excited just now and accidentally touched it. This poison is quite powerful. The black poison began to corrode the wrist almost instantly. I was so careful throughout the whole process, but I still made a mistake at the end. Lu Chuan sighed, and quickly jumped down from the little medical fairy's head, came to the blackened fingertips, and bit it. At this moment, the toxins in the bone-corroding water seemed to have found an outlet and were all absorbed by Lu Chuan. During the process of toxin removal, the severe pain dissipated and the tingling sensation that came with it made Xiao Yixian couldn't help but hum softly. Fortunately, Lu Chuan reacted quickly, otherwise Xiao Yixian's finger would have been broken. Although she has a body of evil poison, her own cultivation is still very weak. If she faces a poison that is too strong, she may not be able to absorb it and may suffer poisoning damage. The bone-eroding water is still too strong for the current little medical immortal. So Lu Chuan only left a little bit of poison for her. However, just this tiny bit of the toxin in the bone-eroding water caused Xiao Yixian's body to instantly experience a hot flash. She quickly sat down and began to absorb the transformed fighting spirit. At the same time, Lu Chuan felt the feedback from the little medical fairy. Great stuff. Lu Chuan's eyes lit up. The feedback from the fighting spirit after the tenfold increase allowed Lu Chuan to clearly feel that his cultivation was growing rapidly. You have to know that Xiao Yixian herself only absorbed a little bit of the poison. At this time, Xiao Yixian didn't know how long it took before she opened her eyes. Her whole body was covered in sweat due to the heat from absorbing the toxins. But a hint of excitement appeared on her little face. It can actually increase so much fighting spirit. When Lu Chuan saw the little medical fairy waking up, he turned around with a look of relief and started drinking the bone-eroding water directly. As the deadly poison entered his body of all poisons began to transform. Lu Chuan clearly felt that his strength was growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Chapter 6. There are a lot of people thinking about me. Feeling the increasing power in his body, Lu Chuan felt very happy. At this rate, the day when Lu Chuan breaks through to the second-level magical beast is just around the corner. It is worthy of being called the Poison Emperor Sutra. Even with these very common medicinal materials, it can create a poison with such extraordinary power. If we could get some slightly more precious medicinal herbs, wouldn't we be able to get even more terrifying poisons? Now Lu Chuan is becoming more and more looking forward to the poison that will be configured in the future. At this time, Lu Chuan, who had just finished drinking the bone-eroding water, was picked up again by the little medical fairy. Jingjing, you are so amazing. The little medical fairy looked at Lu Chuan with burning eyes, and her sweet lips trembled with excitement because of the improvement of her cultivation. She only came in contact with a little bit of bone-eroding water, but her cultivation had already improved significantly. The joy of achieving enlightenment without any effort has become addictive for little medical fairy. Now her subconscious mind was thinking about finding some poison to swallow. However, her finger was almost broken due to an accidental touch just now, and she also knew that the toxins she could digest were limited. So when the little medical fairy saw that Lu Chuan actually drank the highly poisonous bone-eroding water as if it were water and was not hurt at all, she was indeed a little shocked. I'll go find the raw materials for this bone-eroding water tomorrow. Now that Xiao Yixian has mastered the configuration of this poison, she is thinking about getting some more. In this way, both she and Lu Chuan can quickly improve their cultivation. This day, the little medical fairy took Lu Chuan to the clinic for medical treatment as usual. During the lunch break, her female assistant Li Fei quietly came to the side of Xiao Yixian. It was a busy morning today, and Xiao Yixian is feeling very sleepy now. Li Fei pretended to organize the medicine cabinet while observing the little medical fairy. After making sure that Xiao Yixian was asleep, she approached quietly. He reached his hand into Xiao Yixian's clothes. What are you looking for? The little medical fairy suddenly raised her hand and grabbed Li Fei's hand. Li Fei's whole body suddenly stiffened. No, I want to see the medical book behind you. Seeing a stack of books under the little medical fairy, Li Fei hurriedly spoke in order to conceal her purpose. I didn't mean to wake you. The little medical fairy still trusted Li Fei very much. She stood up and handed the medical book directly to Li Fei, then continued to close her eyes and rest. However, Lu Chuan, who was hiding in the doctor's sleeve, looked at Li Fei with cold eyes. Just now he knew very clearly that this Li Fei wanted to put her hand into Xiao Yixian's clothes. It has been more than 10 days since Lu Chuan accompanied Xiao Yixian here to treat her poisoning. It was not exposed in front of the patients, but as Xiao Yixian's most trusted assistant, Li Fei had met Lu Chuan. At that time, she was chasing after Xiao Yixian, and asked about Lu Chuan's origins with a green tea look on her face. The look he gave Lu Chuan always gave me a very uncomfortable feeling. So Lu Chuan told Xiao Yixian at that time that she didn't like this assistant. The little medical fairy didn't think it was a big deal. After all, she is her own little assistant. Soon, in the afternoon, Li Fei, who was supposed to stay in the clinic to help, slipped out quietly. To be cautious, she even disguised herself a little and wore a big hood. Then she came to the next street. At this time, in the dead corner of the alley on this street, stood a burly young man. Captain Muli. The young man saw Li Fei and nodded to her. Tell me, what is the secret of the little medical fairy you mentioned before? Li Fei chuckled, then reached out and pinched it cunningly. The meaning was very clear. Don't worry, you will benefit from it. Muli took out a bag full of gold coins. As long as your information is valuable, these 30 gold coins are yours. The moment Li Fei saw the bag of gold coins, her eyes lit up. Then she quickly came to Muli and whispered, Captain, as you know, Xiao Yixian has been very good at treating poisoning recently. People can get better almost immediately. The speed is quite fast. Muli nodded. Is there any special method? Certainly. Li Fei smiled. That's because she has a little spider that can absorb all the toxins. And it sucks pretty cleanly. Poisoning is no longer a problem in Xiao Yixian's hands. Li Fei's face turned mysterious. Young captain, look, if our team can snatch this spider baby from Xiao Yixian, wouldn't that solve the weakness of the team's fear of poison? There is actually such a treasure. Muli was very happy, and then he threw the heavy bag of gold coins to Li Fei. You performed very well. Next time you have such treasures, tell me first. Of course, of course. Li Fei's eyes showed greedy light as she counted the gold coins, and the smile on the corner of her mouth could not be suppressed. However, what she didn't expect was that Xiao Yixian and Lu Chuan were quietly listening to her conversation with Captain Mu Lishao in the clinic at this time. Lu Chuan's current holographic image has expanded from the original range of 10 meters to 100 meters. After this breakthrough, He could even share the perspective of this holographic image with Xiao Yixian through the soul link. They have been tracking her with holographic vision ever since Li Fei quietly left the clinic. At this time, Xiao Yixian was very angry when she saw that Li Fei, whom she trusted so much, actually sold her out. I trusted her so much, but she sold me out so decisively. Chuan helplessly spread out his two front spider legs. See, I told you this assistant would sell you out. I already told you last night that this little bitch secretly told Boss Yao of Wanyaojai about me. You didn't believe it last night. Chuan didn't know last night that his holographic image could be shared with Xiao Yixian. When he told Xiao Yixian so bluntly, she looked extremely unhappy. She felt that Boss Yao would never be interested in a spider like him. But the problem is that Chuan is not an ordinary spider. He clearly saw through the holographic image that Boss Yao was coveting him. But even though there was no evidence last night, Xiao Yixian still trusted Li Fei very much. There was no other choice, so Chuan had to bring Xiao Yixian with him to collect evidence. Ah, why? Little Dr. Fairy couldn't understand. Is it because I'm not good enough to her? No, you've been very good to her. Chuan shook his head. With the evidence before her, Xiao Yixian felt a little uncomfortable. This Li Fei sold the news to Boss Yao and Mu Li. After hearing this, the two of them did not hide their greedy eyes. After all, this is equivalent to having an additional means of detoxification that can be infinite, which is a great temptation for anyone. Chuan couldn't help but sigh. There are quite a lot of people who care about me. Chapter 7 Binding the Second Person, Xiao Yan. After discovering Li Fei's betrayal, Xiao Yixian's attitude towards her has obviously become much colder in the past 2 days. Li Fei still thought that she had not been exposed, and she kept trying to make her presence known in front of Xiao Yixian all day long, trying to find a way for Xiao Yixian to control the little spider. However, she had no way of knowing that the relationship between Chuan and Xiao Yixian was not achieved through control. The wishful probing made the good-natured Xiao Yixian a little annoyed. If it weren't for the little medical fairy remembering their old friendship, the two of them might have already fallen out. It was Chuan who suggested to keep the troops in place for the time being. After all, although there are many people coveting Chuan himself, no harm has been caused yet. And so, 3 days passed. It is time again for Wanyaojai's herbalists to go into the mountains to collect herbs. According to the old rules, they still hired the wolf-head mercenary group to go together, and even recruited some independent mercenaries. At this time, the group walked up the mountain under the protection of mercenaries. The little medical fairy brought a flower basket, which was covered with a black cloth, giving people the feeling that there was something inside. Nalify's eyes have never left the small flower basket since she came out. She must have thought Chuan was in this basket. Otherwise, why would the basket be covered with opaque black cloth? So along the way, whenever she had the chance, she would quietly come over and lift the basket. She thought she was being very secretive, but in the eyes of the fairy doctor who was already on guard, this was pure self-deception. The little medical fairy didn't bother to pay attention to her and sat aside talking to Chuan who was hiding in his sleeve. Jing, I forgot to tell you that I once saw a relic of an ancient man near where I was collecting herbs. That is a cave, there may be treasures there. Only. The little medical fairy sighed through the soul link, then glanced at Li Fei who had secretly lifted a corner of the black cloth covering the bamboo basket. Chuan understood it immediately. But you also told this news to your good assistant Li Fei, right? Yes. The little medical fairy pouted, looking unhappy. It's not a good feeling to be backstabbed by the person you trust the most. And through Chuan's experience, Xiao Yixian was 100% sure that Mu Li already knew about this. If she goes to look for the remains of her ancestors this time, she will definitely be followed. By then, they might even start a fight. It's okay, we are not afraid of trouble. Chuan could see that Xiao Yixian was in a bad mood, so he spoke to comfort her. Didn't we prepare the bone-eroding water last night just for safety reasons? At this time, last night's bone-eroding water was put into a bottle and carried by the little medical fairy. Don't worry, this bone-eroding water will kill even a great fighter. Chuan also knew that since they knew about such a relic, they would inevitably become greedy. Therefore, whenever Xiao Yixian leaves the main group, Mu Li and the others will definitely follow her. Even if the bone-eroding water is used up, it doesn't matter. At the very least, This, old man, Lu Chuan's strength has already reached the late first level. It's about to break through to the second level Warcraft. It's easy to deal with one Muli. You have to know that with Lu Chuan's current size, it would be useless even if Mu Li and others were on guard. Despite his small stature, he was very fast. As long as there was anything wrong with Mu Li, Lu Chuan could kill him with an unexpected attack. Lu Chuan now has extremely strong physical abilities and can jump several meters high with a single leap. Even his mouthparts were so sharp that he could bite through the skin of human mercenaries like Muli with one bite. The body that is immune to all poisons is not just for show. Lu Chuan's mouthparts can absorb venom and release venom. Mu Li, this bastard, fell flat on his back after taking one bite. Even biting his father to death would only take one bite. Little Dr. Fairy, why did you bring an empty basket? At this time, Li Fei, carrying Xiao Yixian on her back, had looked at the basket countless times and finally confirmed that there was no little spider in the basket. The problem is that you can't use this basket to store herbs when you collect them. Green Tea Li Fei also wanted to take advantage of Xiao Yixian's trust to deceive Lu Chuan. Where did you put that little spider I saw last time? Xiao Yixian was in a bad mood right now, and she glared at Li Fei, it's none of your business. Then she looked away. Xiao Yixian didn't notice that the moment Xiao Yixian turned her head away, a hint of coldness flashed in Li Fei's eyes. However, this hint of coldness was noticed by Lu Chuan. Under the holographic image, no small movement can escape Lu Chuan's eyes. But he is just an ordinary assistant. It's not making a big wave yet. Lu Chuan was too lazy to care. If one day this Li Fei becomes blind, then it can't be Lu Chuan's fault for being cruel. At this time, Li Fei saw that Xiao Yixian had no interest in paying attention to her, and even pretended to be wronged, and whispered, if you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Why are you being so mean to me? Really, at this moment, Lu Chuan wanted to sew Li Fei's mouth shut. Xiao Yixian was obviously a little disgusted. She took the flower basket and went straight to the other side to sit down, keeping a little distance from Li Fei. At this time, Li Fei was too embarrassed to follow him directly. She was bored and went to find Mu Li. Lu Chuan saw it, but didn't want to pay any attention to her. Immediately, Lu Chuan began to expand the range of the holographic image. Soon, the figure of a young man in black appeared in the holographic image. This is... The first impression Lu Chuan had of this young man was that he was extraordinary. Behind him, he was carrying a huge black ruler. Judging from the direction he was moving, it seemed that he was moving towards Xiao Yixian's team. At this moment, Lu Chuan had some guesses in his mind. Lu Chuan had the impression that there was only one person who fit this highly iconic look. Xiao Yan with the Zhanjiang ruler. Calculating the time, Xiao Yan is about this age now, and he only started practicing with the help of Yao Chen. I didn't expect Xiao Yan to come too. Lu Chuan is not afraid of the current Xiao Yan. He has just entered the stage of fighter and poses no threat. The only thing he needs to be wary of is the Yao Chen soul in his ring. Although Yao Chen is very weak now, there is nothing Lu Chuan can do if he wants to protect Xiao Yan. It's a bit troublesome. Lu Chuan sighed. However, soon, a mechanical female voice suddenly sounded from the system that had been silent for some time. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully binding to Xiao Yan. Closing square bracket. Lu Chuan widened his eyes. Can this be directly bound to Xiao Yan? Although after he broke through to the first level magical beast, he already knew that he could bind one more person. But during this period of time, Lu Chuan tried several times, but he was unable to choose who to bind to. It seems like Lu Chuan has no control over who can be bound. Now it seems that Lu Chuan is very glad that he did not bind it casually and waste this quota. It's bound to Xiao Yan, tisk tisk tisk. It's not a loss anyway. Xiao Yan is a genius in cultivation. It's great to get feedback from him about his progress. Chapter 8 Yao Lao, a little kid dares to call herself a medical fairy. Wan Yaojai needs to go into the Monster Mountain range to collect herbs. Recruiting 50 casual mercenaries, accompanied by the Fairy Medicine Clinic's medical staff. Sign up now. At this time, in the camp in front of the Warcraft Mountain Range, the staff of Wanyaojai were shouting loudly. When many mercenaries heard that the Fairy Medicine Lady would be going with them, their eyes widened and they surrounded the registration office. Can we enter the Monster Mountain Range? At this time, Xiao Yan, who was outside the crowd, heard the staffs shouting and felt a little moved. Teacher, I want to go into the mountains with them. Xiao Yan reached out and touched the storage ring, communicating with Yao Chen's soul inside. He came here to practice asceticism, but with his current strength, he can only deal with a first-level monster at most. If he went up the mountain alone and was attacked by other monsters, he might be killed. It is a safe choice to go up the mountain with these mercenaries. At this time, Yao Lao also heard the medical fairy mentioned by the staff member through Xiao Yan. It seems that this medical fairy is very popular here. Go ahead, I also want to see what's so special about the fairy doctor that people in this town are talking about. After getting Yao Lao's approval, Xiao Yan smiled. He followed the team in line. 50 places are not too many, but not too few either. Soon, when it was Xiao Yan's turn, there was only one spot left. Boy, you are not here to tease me, are you? The mercenary in charge of the screening saw Xiao Yan's appearance as a thin and frail young man and immediately felt that he had been fooled. With your physique, you will be among the first to become food for the monsters if you enter the monster mountain range. Get out of here and give your place to the man behind you. The mercenary raised his hand and was ready to push Xiao Yan out. However, a smile appeared on Xiao Yan's lips, and he grabbed the mercenary's hand with one hand. The mercenary looked at his hands in surprise. He was actually controlled by a little brat. At the same time, the burly man behind Xiao Yan saw that he had a chance to join the team, but the boy in front of him dared not to move aside. So he immediately punched Xiao Yan on the head. Get lost. The only one who wants to go up the mountain with the fairy medicine is me. The man's punch was so powerful that it even made a sound of breaking through the air. It sounds like they all contain extremely terrifying power. However, Xiao Yan simply turned sideways, raised his hand and blocked the burly man's fist with his palm. For a moment, dust was flying. Although he is just a teenager, he possesses more power than an adult mercenary. The burly man and the mercenary in charge of recruitment and screening both showed a hint of shock on their faces. The mercenary looked at himself being controlled by Xiao Yan, and then nodded. Okay, since you do have some strength, this last spot is for you. After saying that, he pointed at the burly man and the people still queuing behind him and shouted, everyone, go away. We're all here. Many people shook their heads regretfully and left unwillingly. A proud smile appeared on Xiao Yan's face, and he felt that this training experience would definitely be easy. However, Chuan turned on the holographic image, which was full of helplessness. It looks like this guy is going with me. Since Xiao Yan was going with me, I couldn't be too presumptuous. If I am exposed, I will not be able to defeat Yao Lao's soul. Afterwards, after the personnel were prepared, the staff of Wanyaojai began to lead the herb collecting team up the mountain. Little medical fairy was still carrying a flower basket covered with black cloth, following the team silently. But in fact, she was listening to the new and interesting herbal knowledge that Chuan explained to her. If she can come across some precious medicinal herbs during this herb collecting trip, Xiao Yixian plans to grab some for herself. Everything is done to be able to refine stronger poisons to improve cultivation. But she could feel it. This time when he went up the mountain, Mu Li's eyes never left the little medical fairy. Even though they were all looking at him secretly, the degree of his blatancy was not much different from staring at him. After all, he is the young leader of a mercenary group. It's a great honor. During the process of climbing the mountain, Xiao Yan mingled with the mercenaries and other people to gather information about Xiao Yixian. This is the task assigned by Yao Lao. Little brother, you're from outside, right? When a mercenary heard that Xiao Yan was interested in little medical fairy, he immediately introduced her with a smile. The medical fairy is the pride of our Qingshan town. No matter what kind of poison you've been poisoned by, as long as the fairy medicine takes action, it can be completely detoxified within a few minutes. It's much better than those damn expensive pills. Detoxification in just a few minutes. Such a quick detoxification method. Xiao Yan was a little unconvinced. Can this girl have such ability? Hee, outsiders are ignorant. It's not your fault. Seeing that Xiao Yan didn't believe it, the mercenary didn't argue, as if what he said was an ironclad fact. This made Xiao Yan lack confidence. That little girl is not a pharmacist. At this time, Yao Lao's voice appeared in Xiao Yan's mind. He also didn't believe that little medical fairy had the ability to detoxify. At this moment, The little expression on Xiao Yan's face was clearly seen by Lu Chuan's holographic image. Oh no, she's been targeted. Lu Chuan now feels a little regretful. He shouldn't have let the little medical fairy take so much limelight before. Just at this moment, a sound suddenly came from the troops in front. There's a monster attack, be careful to protect the doctor. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xiao Yan actually took the initiative to come to Xiao Yixian's side, wanting to observe her closely. Lu Chuan's heart was beating faster. This can't be exposed. It seems that I need to be a little more low-key. Fortunately, the overall strength of the mercenaries is good this time. The monster attacks from the periphery were quickly resolved. After several hours of trekking, the group finally arrived at a place where they often collected herbs at night. But now it's night, so they plan to set up camp and rest. Lu Chuan quickly reminded Xiao Yixian after seeing her return to her tent. You'd better not do anything tonight and let other doctors take action. Xiao Yixian didn't understand why, but she agreed anyway. However, at this moment, an unconscious mercenary was carried into the tent, and the wound looked like he was bitten by a venomous snake. He's been poisoned, fairy doctor, please save him. Little medical fairy looked at the unconscious mercenary in front of her and subconsciously took action to detoxify him. Soon, the poison wore off, and the mercenary opened his eyes and thanked the little medical fairy. Little medical fairy didn't notice that Xiao Yan was hiding outside the tent and watching all this. Hee, this mercenary was poisoned by a purple-bellied snake. Even if the poison can be removed, he will be unable to move for a short period of time. This little girl is like nothing happened after the treatment. She does have some skills. While Yao Lao was explaining to Xiao Yan, he looked deeply at the little medical fairy. He became a little interested in the little medical fairy. In such a small place, a teenage girl can have such means, she must be an alchemist. Everything is weird. Chapter 9 Breakthrough to the second level, 10,000 Poison Pill. It's really a good thing. At this moment, in a corner that even Lu Chuan had somewhat ignored, Mu Li was watching all this quietly. He deliberately had the mercenary sent to Xiao Yixian's tent just to see what Xiao Yixian's methods were. Now it seems that Li Fei's information was correct. The little medical fairy does have some good stuff in her hands. But Mu Li is not in a hurry to take action now. In addition to the little spider that Li Fei mentioned, he also knew about the cave ruins that Xiao Yixian had found before. He still wanted to wait for the little medical fairy to take him to the cave. Being able to open a cave in the Monster Mountain range, there must be treasures left by predecessors inside. The value of those treasures is no less than the spider on little medical fairy's body. So Mu Li is very patient now. He wants to catch them all in one swoop. These good things are all his. At this time, the mercenary who had completed the treatment took the initiative to leave Xiao Yixian's tent. Little medical fairy quickly closed the tent, blocking all sight. Xiao Yan hid aside, and seeing that there was no chance to peek, he returned to his tent. Only after making sure that there was no one around did Lu Chuan come out from the little medical fairy's sleeve. The situation was indeed urgent just now. There was no other way. He had to take action. But he was sure no one saw him. Not even one glance was seen by Mu Li. But he had psychological expectations. So Lu Chuan knew that he was exposed to Mu Li. But he didn't do anything. He must be thinking about asking Xiao Yixian to take him to the cave. At this time, the little medical fairy poured the bone-eroding water into a bowl and placed it in front of Lu Chuan. Lu Chuan observed Mu Li and Xiao Yan through holographic images while drinking bone-eroding water. Neither of them behaved in any unusual way. Since you are both so patient, let's see who can hold out the longest. At this time, next to Lu Chuan, the little medical fairy sat cross-legged, and then she just dipped a little bone-eroding water with her hand and quickly transformed it. She is not yet able to drink the poisonous water as unscrupulously as Lu Chuan. However, due to the characteristics of her poisonous body, she wanted to take some poison from time to time. This bone-eroding water is like a little girl's favorite candy to the little medical fairy. That night, it was not just Xiao Yixian and Lu Chuan who were immersed in cultivation. And there is Xiao Yan. Under the guidance of Yao Lao, Xiao Yan meditated and practiced on the spot. Nowadays, Lu Chuan has already bound himself to Xiao Yan and Xiao Yixian. The results of their practice will be returned to them tenfold. But even with this rapid and brutal training speed, Lu Chuan was still drinking the bone-eroding water and still working hard at training. This is simply the liver emperor. There's nothing I can do. Lu Chuan always felt that there were many crises around him. But now he is too weak and insecure. This state made him very uncomfortable. So Lu Chuan was eager to improve his strength. Time passed like this, and Lu Chuan almost found an opportunity to get off the little medical ferry and then dive into the bone-eroding water to drink. Little medical fairy was also very obedient. For the next 2 days, she just followed the large group to collect herbs and had no intention of going alone to find the cave. This made Mu Li, who had been secretly keeping a close eye on the little medical fairy, anxious. Are you just sitting here waiting for your turn to grow old? But he couldn't show it at all, which was annoying. Medicine fairy, have you forgotten that there is a cave to go to? Mu Li kept urging himself in his heart. These days he just followed Xiao Yixian and watched her pick herbs, and did nothing else. After another day of no gain, Mu Li returned to the mercenary camp in annoyance. Hey, good job, boy. As soon as Mu Li came back, he heard his mercenaries gathered in a circle, seemingly looking at something excitedly. He walked over and stood on tiptoe, and saw a young man in a vest and bare-chested competing with another mercenary in the open space. Why are there troubles everywhere? Mu Li looked at the young man named Xiao Yan with dissatisfaction. These days, Xiao Yan's presence has been too strong. Even better than little medical immortal. After all, the mercenaries didn't follow into the monster mountain range just to get the meager salary from Wanyaojai. Many people have an attitude of gaining experience. So when the doctors go up the mountain to collect herbs, many of their mercenaries will look for lone monsters nearby to hunt. If you kill the monster, you can also get some good extra money. In the past, Muli would lead a team to patrol the mountains, and the mercenaries would pay Muli a share of the money after hunting down monsters. But this time, Muli asked them to form their own team. He didn't want to throw away the fat meat of Xiao Yixian just for a few small things. However, he miscalculated. Xiao Yixian didn't take any action, so he lost 2 days' money in vain. Later, when he was chatting with his mercenaries, he heard the wonderful performance of a young man. Xiao Yan, he looks only 15 or 16 years old, but he is always the first to rush to the front when hunting a first-level monster, and his skills are extraordinary. Many mercenaries had their lives saved by him. Now he has won the small game between the mercenaries in the camp again, and many mercenaries are cheering for him. This popularity made Mu Li very jealous. The third night. Lu Chuan crawled out from the sleeve of the little medical fairy and looked at her with some anticipation. Have you collected it? The little medical fairy smiled and nodded. It still took a lot of effort. She deliberately looked around the tent to see if there was anyone around before taking out all the materials Lu Chuan requested. Lu Chuan lit the medicinal herbs one by one. Good. He showed a satisfied smile on his face. Then I will teach you now. If this thing is thrown out, it will instantly produce a large cloud of smoke. This smoke makes everyone fall down. The little medical fairy was also very excited. Ever since she heard Lu Chuan say that he would make her a self-defense weapon, she had been looking forward to it. But the raw material was rather complicated, and it took her several days to collect it. Lu Chuan now came to Xiao Yixian's head and began to teach her how to prepare this new formula from her perspective. It also contains a lot of toxicology knowledge that we talked about a few days ago. Xiao Yixian listened carefully to the configuration steps, and then followed the standard procedures carefully. She moved very slowly, and if there was a wrong step, Lu Chuan would remind her immediately. This will ensure that the prescription is 100% successful this time. It just takes a long time. Under Lu Chuan's full guidance, the little medical fairy made a white pill. This ball is called Thunderbolt Bomb, a self-defense weapon. Seeing that the first one had been completed, Lu Chuan once again crawled into Xiao Yixian's sleeve. Okay, you tinker with it first, I'm going to make a breakthrough. Lu Chuan found a perfect position and leaned against the soft flesh on the inside of Xiao Yixian's snow-white and tender arm. In an instant, Lu Chuan suddenly felt a fierce breath bursting out from his body. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the second-level magic beast, and reward a 10,000 poison pill. Chapter 10. If you are angry, just kill him. It is described in the Poison Emperor Sutra. When the body of all poisons is cultivated to the third stage, it can automatically condense a pill of all poisons. And this 10,000 poison pill can be used as an internal elixir by the evil poison body to store the poisonous fighting spirit in the body. Make the fighting spirit in your body as easy as controlling your arms. It seems that this pill can be given to Xiao Yixian to use, so that she won't be unable to control the poison and accidentally hurt someone, causing her to blame herself and feel guilty. Lu Chuan looked at the little medical fairy who was still fiddling with the thunder bomb and made a decision in his heart. At the same time, Lu Chuan felt that after he advanced to the second-level magical beast, the maximum range of the holographic image had expanded to more than 1,000 meters. Then he started to detect directly. It was discovered that Xiao Yan and other mercenaries were now guarding the doctor who was collecting herbs more than 500 meters away from the camp. Xiao Yan is not nearby. Yao Lao's soul power should still be very weak and he cannot detect this place. Lu Chuan now focused his attention on Mu Li. That is to say, the only one we need to face now is Mu Li. Ever since Mu Li got the news, he has been guarding near Xiao Yixian in the camp, and his entire face is filled with an ugly look of worry that Xiao Yixian might run away. Now is a good opportunity. This can teach little medical fairy a lesson and let her know how dangerous the world is. Then Lu Chuan crawled out from the little medical fairy's soft arms and stood on her round and smooth shoulders. It's over. The little medical fairy tilted her head and looked at Lu Chuan. Now we can go find the cave you mentioned before. Lu Chuan nodded in response. This was something Lu Chuan had agreed on with Xiao Yixian before. You have to wait until Lu Chuan feels able to act alone before you can go. Now that Lu Chuan said this, Xiao Yixian naturally packed up her things, opened the curtain and walked out of the tent. She now obeys Lu Chuan's orders. Xiao Yixian knew very well that Lu Chuan would never harm her. With Lu Chuan around, Xiao Yixian just needs to be obedient. So she didn't care about other people's opinions and quietly left the camp alone. Although Xiao Yixian was already very careful, but she couldn't stand Mu Li's continuous stare at her. Mu Li soon noticed that the little medical fairy had left the camp. I finally made it to the end. Mu Li excitedly called a dozen of his trusted mercenaries and quietly followed the trail of the little medical fairy. Although Mu Li was very careful not to let the little medical fairy in front of him notice that he was being followed. But it didn't work. All his actions were under Lu Chuan's surveillance. Since you want to follow, you must be prepared to pay the price. At this time, Xiao Yixian had already arrived at the edge of a cliff. Although it was dark now, Lu Chuan could still see the scenery below the cliff. Relying on this detection ability, Lu Chuan had already seen the entire picture of the cave. The only problem now is Xiao Yan and Yao Chen behind him. Fortunately, the journey was so long that Lu Chuan had already confirmed that Xiao Yan did not follow him. Then he stood on Xiao Yixian's shoulder and whispered, "Go down." The little medical fairy obediently took out the rope and climbed down the rock wall. The cave was a little distance from the top of the cliff, and the wind was a little cold at night. Fortunately, Xiao Yixian has activated the evil poison body, and some poisonous fighting spirit has condensed in her body, making her resistant to the cold wind. Just when Xiao Yixian and Lu Chuan arrived in the middle of the rock wall, a rock snake slowly crawled over with its tongue spitting out. Although Xiao Yixian and Lu Chuan are not afraid of this rock snake, it would be a waste of time if it went crazy and bit the rope. Xiao Yixian held the rope tightly with both hands and stared at the rock snake cautiously, not knowing what to do. Lu Chuan's 8 spider eyes looked at the rock snake coldly. Since it was blocking the way, I'm sorry. A stream of venom spurted out directly from Lu Chuan's sharp mouthparts. Like a high-speed stream of water, the venom shot through the rock snake's skin and entered its body. Almost instantly, the rock snake's body was twisted into a knot, and then turned visibly black. The fishy smell of decay made Xiao Yixian frown. However, the rock snake was dealt with, and the little medical fairy sped up and soon landed next to the pile of strange trees. The cave is right next to it. It was very dark in the cave, but Lu Chuan's exploration had nothing to do with light, and everything in the cave was clearly visible. Then he directed the little medical fairy to walk into the cave. Xiao Yixian was not afraid either. She knew that Lu Chuan could discover every detail around him, so she just needed to be obedient. Then she came to a mechanism entrance in the cave. With Lu Chuan's guidance, Xiao Yixian easily opened the mechanism and entered the cave where the treasure was hidden. At this time, there are some fluorescent plants in the cave. With the help of this faint light, Xiao Yixian saw 3 treasure chests and many precious medicinal herbs that she had never seen before. Wow, so many good things. The little medical fairy was very happy. She ran happily to open the first treasure chest. Inside is a 7-colored poison scripture. But the light was very dim now, so Xiao Yixian put it away and never looked at it again. From the second treasure chest, Xiao Yixian opened a book on flying fighting skills. With this flying skill, I don't have to rely on ropes when I come down from the cliff like this time. Quite practical. The things in the first 2 treasure chests are very useful to Xiao Yixian. This made her even more excited about what was in the 3rd treasure chest. However, just as Xiao Yixian was about to open the 3rd treasure chest, a noisy sound was heard outside the cave. The little medical fairy took a deep breath. She was not surprised. After all, since she set out, Chuan had already told her that Mu Li was following behind her. But Xiao Yixian didn't expect that not long after she came in, the mercenaries led by Mu Li broke in. Fuck, how can you see a ball in this dark place? Mu Li's excited voice spoke vulgar words, come on, light the torch, and let me see what good things are in this cave. Soon, there was fire coming from outside. Mu Li led a dozen of his elite mercenaries into the innermost cave. Hey, little Dr. Fairy, I didn't expect you to find such a good place. Mu Li looked at the surrounding medicinal herbs and the 2 treasure chests that had been opened. Mu Li, why are you following me? The little medical fairy took 2 steps back and looked at Mu Li with a cold face. Of course it's because I like you, he he he. Mu Li looked at the little medical fairy wantonly. With such a pretty little girl, and now that they are alone in a place like this, he can do whatever he wants. The little medical fairy bit her sweet lips lightly. She felt Mu Li's malicious and disgusting look. The little medical fairy was very disgusted with this villain. Not only did he bribe the people around him, he also followed him. It's disgusting just thinking about it. At this time, feeling the disgust in Xiao Yixian's heart, Chuan whispered softly in Xiao Yixian's mind like a devil's whisper. It's better to kill such a person. Chapter 11. Cut the roots and don't be soft-hearted. Kill them. After hearing Chuan's words, Xiao Yixian hesitated. She has always been practicing medicine to treat illnesses and has never thought that one day she would have to kill someone. At this time, Mu Li didn't know that Xiao Yixian was still struggling over whether to kill them. He just saw the girl's expression, which seemed a little scared. Of course this is just Mu Li's feeling. He has been leading the wolf head mercenary group for so many years and has never taken ordinary people seriously. In Mu Li's opinion, these ordinary people who have no fighting ability should be afraid of him. At this moment, there was a pure and lovely little beauty and a dozen burly men in the cave. The following story is naturally the kind of messed up plot that Mu Li loves to see. He has done this several times and no one dared to say anything. So he approached the little medical fairy with confidence and boldness. What is a little girl afraid of? What's more, he has a dozen trusted confidants behind him who are as fierce as wolves and tigers to support him. No, don't come over here. Seeing Mu Li approaching with a ferocious look on his face, the little medical fairy couldn't help but take several steps back. If you come any closer, don't blame me for being cruel. However, the entire cave was so small that after Xiao Yixian took 2 steps back, her body was already against the wall. Mu Li smiled wildly, back off again. At this moment, the weak appearance of little medical fairy seemed to make Mu Li and the dozen or so mercenaries behind him laugh. Master, please hurry up, our brothers are still waiting behind. Many mercenaries were laughing evilly behind his back. It seems that this is definitely not the first time he has done this. This kind of laughter gave Xiao Yixian goosebumps. She bit her lips tightly with her pearly teeth, still making a final struggle in her heart. I saved so many mercenaries. If they knew that your wolf-head mercenary group bullied me, they would definitely not let it go. She really didn't want to do anything unless it was absolutely necessary. However, Xiao Yixian's words could not scare Mu Li at all. He continued to approach Xiao Yixian. His eyes had already looked at Xiao Yixian's body for several times, as if he was thinking about where to start. Haha, do you think they would go against our entire wolf-head mercenary group just for you, a doctor? Mu Li sneered. In the light of the fire, his shadow almost completely swallowed up the little medical fairy. Little medical fairy felt a little disgusted by Mu Li's look. She knew that she must not let Mu Li get close to her now. Looking at the cave entrance blocked by a dozen mercenaries, she sighed and quickly took out the thunder bomb. Bang! White smoke filled the entire cave almost instantly. Mu Li felt something was wrong with his body after just taking a sip. Don't breathe this smoke. Mu Li's face changed, and he turned around to remind the mercenaries behind him. However, in such a small space like a cave, the power of the thunder bomb was almost instantly maximized. All the mercenaries brought by Mu Li fell down in a short while. It's no use if you don't inhale it. Xiao Yixian was very confident in her ability to use the thunder bomb. As long as the skin comes into contact, it will be affected. Mu Li turned his head and looked at Xiao Yixian viciously. Damn you little bitch. He pounced on the little medical fairy almost immediately. How come you're okay? Although the biggest effect of the thunder bomb is paralysis, the effect is very strong, and Mu Li should not have any strength left. Humph, luckily I took the detoxification pill in advance, otherwise your thing is useless to me. As Xiao Yixian was an expert in detoxification, Mu Li knew that she must also be very good at using poison. So he had already prepared for this move in advance. But he didn't expect that the thunder bomb of the little medical fairy was so effective. Even after taking the detoxification pill, he still felt numb all over. But it is still possible to act in a short time. It was just that due to the paralysis, his reaction was a little slow, and the little medical fairy narrowly avoided it. Taking this opportunity, Xiao Yixian had no intention of hurting anyone and just wanted to leave through the cave. However, when Mu Li saw that the meat near his mouth was about to fly away, he immediately turned around and blocked the hole. Court death. You tricked me and you still want to run away. At this time, Mu Li's eyes became more ferocious. Seeing that Mu Li's hand was about to grab Xiao Yixian, Lu Chuan flew out from his sleeve. In the white smoke, Mu Li couldn't see Lu Chuan's figure at all. In addition, Lu Chuan's speed was very fast. He appeared like a black shadow and landed steadily on Mu Li's neck. Antidote pill. Lu Chuan showed his sharp mouthparts. Then let's see if your detoxification pill can block my poison. Lu Chuan took a bite. Mu Li's skin turned dark almost instantly. What happened? He felt no pain. Lu Chuan's poison is now several times stronger than ordinary bone-eroding water. After just a few seconds, Mu Li's whole body began to fester and stink, and his skin turned black. The bones seemed to be melted. Bang! Mu Li fell down immediately. The whole person is dead. At this time, Xiao Yixian was still a little flustered. Smelling the fishy odor, she looked at Mu Li, who had turned as black as charcoal, in disbelief. Dead, yes, dead. Lu Chuan jumped directly back onto the little medical fairy's snow-white and delicate shoulders. You killed him, Lu Chuan slowly said in Xiao Yixian's ear. These mercenaries are unconscious now. If they wake up and go back to report. Seeing the gradually changing look in Xiao Yixian's eyes, Lu Chuan showed a meaningful smile. Do you think the leader of the wolf-head mercenary group will let you go? The little medical fairy naturally understood. Of course not. So, we have to strike first. Lu Chuan continued, all these unconscious people must be killed. Ah, are you going to kill more people? Xiao Yixian was frightened by Lu Chuan's words. This is obviously completely different from my philosophy of curing diseases and saving lives. But these people followed Mu Li just to make a living. Little medical fairy felt sorry for the dozen or so mercenaries lying unconscious on the ground. She would rather escape herself than kill dozens of lives. Stupid. Lu Chuan narrowed his eyes and looked at the mercenaries. I'll do it. Jing, don't. The little medical fairy quickly reached out to stop Lu Chuan. Well, looking at the little medical fairy's pleading eyes, Lu Chuan felt helpless. He sighed, then silently put his hand into little medical fairy's sleeve, which was considered as his agreement. The little medical fairy pursed her lips, opened the third treasure chest, and packed up all the useful herbs around and took them away. Lu Chuan took out an ancient parchment scroll from the corpse. Before leaving, the little medical fairy buried the body of the cave owner properly before leaving. After all, he has received so many benefits from others, so he should be buried properly. However, now that she had gotten into such a big trouble, Xiao Yixian knew that she could not return to Qingshan town. She had to go somewhere else. Chapter 12 Xiao Yan. Wow, this woman is so powerful, she knocked down more than a dozen mercenaries. After leaving the cave, Xiao Yixian came to the edge of the cliff. She took out a whistle from her sleeve and blew it towards the sky. Lu Chuan could feel a different wave spreading. Not long after, a blue eagle flew over from not far away. After the eagle cried, it slowly landed beside Xiao Yixian, and then rubbed Xiao Yixian's body gently with its head. "This is my partner, Blue Eagle." The little medical fairy introduced herself to Chuan, with a hint of pride in her tone. At this time, after hearing what little medical fairy said, Blue Eagle looked at her shoulder curiously. The pressure from Chuan, the second-level monster, is still very strong. When I was collecting herbs in the past, if I encountered a place that was difficult to walk to, I would ask Blue Eagle to come find me. At this time, the little medical fairy flipped over and climbed onto Blue Eagle's body. Grumble. Seeing that Xiao Yixian had sat firmly, Blue Eagle flapped its wings and took off. It took the little medical fairy across a basin and came to a valley. The whole valley was shrouded in a light mist, which was like a soft gauze, floating slowly in the valley. From the outside, the outline of the valley is vaguely visible. The valley is lush with vegetation, and various rare medicinal herbs grow under the nourishment of the mist. There are clear streams flowing in between, and the sound of gurgling water echoes in the quiet valley. The surrounding mountain walls are steep and rocky. Occasionally, waterfalls cascade down the mountain walls, and the splashing water blends into the diffuse mist, making the entire valley more mysterious and quiet. "Let's stop here." The little medical fairy let the Blue Eagle land at the bottom of the valley. The surroundings are quite quiet. From the mountain, due to the clouds and mist, you can't see the situation in the valley at all. It is very hidden. It seems that Xiao Yixian plans to hide here for a while. But Chuan didn't care. He felt more comfortable in this valley where there was no one else. At least you don't have to hide in your sleeves all the time. After solving the basic accommodation problem, Xiao Yixian began to study the gains made in the cave this time. After all, things have come to this, so we might as well look forward. The little medical fairy took out the 7-colored poison scripture from the first treasure chest and studied it carefully. Now she herself has a poisonous body, and the 7-colored poison sutra is highly compatible with her and is worth practicing. Chuan began to use detection to observe the surrounding conditions. There are many precious medicinal herbs in the entire valley. I have to say, this is a good place. However, if the quantity of medicinal materials needed in the future is large, it will be difficult for the current little medical fairy to collect them. There is no warehouse like in a clinic to store them. Here, this is for you. Chuan threw a ring in front of Xiao Yixian, which made a crisp sound. Little medical fairy was attracted by the voice and slowly looked up. "What's this?" She picked up the ring and recognized it immediately. "A ring." "Pull it out from Muli. There is a special space inside the ring for storing things." Since Chuan couldn't wear this thing himself, he could only give it to Xiao Yixian. "From now on, if you have anything, you can just throw it into the ring." After getting the storage ring, Xiao Yixian no longer needs to put everything in her arms, making them bulging. Herb collecting area. Xiao Yan raised his hand and placed it on his brow. "Teacher, are you saying that the person sitting on the big blue bird that just flew over was the fairy doctor?" Yao Chen's voice emerged in Xiao Yan's mind. "That's right." Although Yao Chen's strength has not recovered, his perception ability is still very strong. "That's great." Xiao Yan looked at the direction where little medical fairy flew away, his face full of envy. They all have their own flying monsters. But he was a little curious why this medical fairy would fly away to other places alone. "Xiao Yan, let's go. We can go back now. Here it comes." At this time, as the doctors finished collecting medicinal herbs, Xiao Yan followed these doctors back to the camp. However, as he walked, Xiao Yan looked in the direction where Xiao Yixian left. When we arrived at the camp, it was obvious that there were fewer people in the wolf-head mercenary group. Even Mu Li, the young leader of the wolf-head mercenary group who led the team this time, was not there. But these are not what Xiao Yan should care about. However, just as Xiao Yan was about to take a break, there was a commotion suddenly coming from the other side. "Really, it's true. Look, there's no one in the tent." "Hiss, I don't quite believe it. She's so kind." No matter whether she is kind or not, the problem now is that she has offended the wolf-head mercenary group. Hearing the mercenaries, discussions getting louder and louder not far away, Xiao Yan moved closer with some curiosity. They seemed to be discussing the fairy doctor. At this time, he saw a dozen elite mercenaries from the wolf-head mercenary group returning with Mu Li's body. What's going on? Many mercenaries saw the horrific appearance of Mu Li's body. Although they felt a little happy in their hearts, they could not show it on their faces. After all, Mu Li was used to being arrogant and domineering, so naturally he had a lot of people who hated him. It's just that due to the strength of the wolf-head mercenary group, few people dared to confront them head-on. Now that Mu Li had died like this, it was already a courtesy for him not to gloat over his misfortune in person. These dozen or so mercenaries who were still alive woke up after being knocked unconscious by thunder bombs in the cave. When they woke up, they all looked at Mu Li's body in surprise. Who could have thought that Mu Li would die tragically facing an unarmed fairy doctor? However, it is impossible for them to take the blame on themselves. It's all Xiao Yixian's fault. Then the entire wolf-head mercenary group began to hunt for Xiao Yixian. The reasons they made up were also very strange. They actually said that Xiao Yixian seduced Mu Li and then killed him when Mu Li was off guard. Few people believe this statement. After all, there was no need for Xiao Yixian to actively seduce Mu Li, let alone kill him for no reason. However, due to the power of the wolf-head mercenary group, no one dared to refute. So soon, a wanted order for Xiao Yixian was issued. Xiao Yan had been getting along well with all the mercenaries these days, so he came to Mu Li's body and checked the situation almost without any obstacles. This Mu Li is quite powerful. Xiao Yan checked Mu Li's death while talking to Yao Lao. He died just like that. He died of poisoning. Yao Lao recognized it immediately. That little girl is not simple. Xiao Yan shook his head. I didn't expect it to be her. But she doesn't even have the strength of a fighter. He didn't even have the strength of a fighter, but he was able to kill a 6 or 7-star fighter by using poison. He even managed to take down more than a dozen elite mercenaries and escape unscathed. This little girl is really scary. Chapter 13. Solving the sequelae of the poisonous body, the excitement of the little medical fairy. In a thatched house in a small valley, the little medical fairy sat cross-legged, flipping through the 7-colored poison sutra. This search is to get more detailed information about this poisonous body of mine. After all, the first page of the 7-colored poison scripture actually has a description of the evil poison body. But overall it's pretty fragmented. Therefore, Xiao Yixian needs to read the entire book carefully before she can piece together all the details of the evil poison body. Now after reading it, her face became extremely stiff. The little medical fairy turned her head and looked at Chuan, who had just finished drinking the bone-eroding water and was lying on the ground to rest. Her expression was very stiff. Jing, tell me honestly. The little medical fairy pursed her lips and lay her whole body in front of Chuan, with the snow-white scenery on her chest clearly visible through her clothes. Did you forget to tell me something? This calamity poison body is not all good. Before, Xiao Yixian didn't know much about the evil poison body. Now, after reading the description in the 7-colored poison sutra, she discovered that this special physique has a big disadvantage. The evil poison body can indeed take poison to increase its cultivation level, and can even use poison to kill stronger opponents of higher levels. But this world is fair. After being given such a powerful force, it also comes with serious side effects. Nothing is ever perfect. The evil poison body makes cultivation easier and the strength increases quickly. But poison is still poison. Although the characteristics of the evil poison body can stop the poison from biting the body, the toxin will continue to accumulate in the body. Everything has its limits. Once in the future, when Xiao Yixian swallows more and more poison, the toxins accumulated in Xiao Yixian's body will undergo a qualitative change from quantitative change. Once the toxins swallowed exceed the limit that the evil poison body can control, and become so much that it cannot suppress the poisonous fighting spirit in its body, all the toxins will explode at this moment. The pain of being devoured by thousands of poisons. It will cause the owner of the poisonous body to die in the most painful torture in the world. Just thinking of that scene, Xiao Yixian felt a chill on her back. So she looked at Chuan very seriously at this moment, and there was even a hint of blame in her tone for not telling her in advance about the disadvantages of activating the Wane poison body. After all, they had been together for so long, and Chuan's extensive knowledge about toxins had long conquered the little medical immortal. She didn't believe that Chuan didn't know the harm of this Wane poisonous body. She felt uncomfortable when she thought that she would be full of poison in the future and no friends would dare to get close to her. A life of loneliness and friendlessness, and in the end a tragic end as he is devoured by a myriad of poisons. There were tears in the corners of little Dr. Fairy's eyes. Chuan looked at the little medical fairy as usual. He knew that after reading the seven-colored poison sutra, the little medical fairy would definitely know the disadvantages of this evil poison body and would question him. However, Lu Chuan was not panicked. Now that he had the Wandu pill, he could solve this problem perfectly. Of course I know. Lu Chuan smiled calmly. The disadvantages of activating the evil poison body are indeed huge. Then why didn't you tell me in advance? The little medical fairy raised her hand and made a gesture as if to slap Lu Chuan. But seeing her delicate jade hand raised in the air, she felt distressed again. The little medical fairy was reluctant to hit Lu Chuan. I'm not telling you because I have a way to solve it. Lu Chuan knew that Xiao Yixian was reluctant to let her go, so he jumped directly to her chest and stood under the deep ravine. Solve? How to solve it? The little medical fairy was a little confused. The seven-colored poison sutra did not say that this defect could be solved, but Lu Chuan's erudition made her subconsciously believe it. What should I do? Lu Chuan gave a meaningful smile. It's simple. Just take off your clothes and lie down. Take off all your clothes. The little doctor's face suddenly turned red. Yes, I can only help you solve this problem if you take off all your clothes. Lu Chuan's voice as a matter of course emerged in Xiao Yixian's mind. Little medical fairy looked at the beautiful spider that jumped onto her chest, and some strange images flashed through her mind. But after all, in Xiao Yixian's mind, Jingjing is her spider pet, a warcraft companion like Blue Eagle. So, being naked doesn't seem to be a big deal. Then, she reached out with both hands and took off her top completely. Do you want to take off the rest, too? The little medical fairy asked in a soft voice. No, actually just show your belly. Lu Chuan held the Wandu pill in his mouth. He crawled along Xiao Yixian's chest to her lower abdomen, then pressed the Wandu Dan on her belly button. Lu Chuan's 8 spider legs stepped on Xiao Yixian's delicate and tender white skin, as if it was being caressed by fingers. This unique experience made the inexperienced little doctor unable to help but make a sound. But she immediately covered her lips with her hands. But her snow-white skin was instantly stained pink. Lu Chuan wrapped the Wandu pill with poison gas and pressed it into Xiao Yixian's belly button. The 10,000 poison pill instantly sank beneath the skin. Little medical fairy felt an incomparable sense of comfort throughout her body. All the poisonous fighting spirit in her body was absorbed by the 10,000 poison pill at once. And from now on, she can control the poisonous fighting spirit in the 10,000 poison pill at will. Jingjing, you're so nice. The little medical fairy was so excited that she sat up and hugged Lu Chuan and kissed him madly. The changes in her body made her realize that she no longer had to worry about the sequelae of the evil poison body, and she could continue to use the evil poison body to make her handwashing poison stronger. Calm down, calm down. Lu Chuan's spider body was almost covered with the saliva of the excited little medical fairy. Put on your clothes first. Only then did Xiao Yixian remember that she was still naked. Then she put on her clothes while humming a little tune, and saw the flying fighting skills that she and the seven-colored poison sutra had put together. Eagle's wings, what does this mean? It literally means that once you learn it, you can fly. Doesn't that require at least a Do Wong strongman to do it? Only when one reaches the level of Do Wong can one transform Do Chi into wings and fly into the sky. The temptation to break through the constraints of the ground is not low. Little medical fairy herself also longs for it. If you want to learn, you must at least be a fighting master, otherwise your fighting spirit won't be able to sustain it. Lu Chuan reminded. The little medical fairy smiled and said, with my physique, I will soon be able to reach the level of a fighting master. Immediately, she began to show off the poison without any scruples. She has now reached the 9th level of fighting power, and it will only take her 2 days to break through to the fighter level. At this time in the outside world, Mu Shi, the leader of the wolf-head mercenary group, was frantically looking for Xiao Yixian. 1 month later, by taking poison, Xiao Yixian has reached the level of a 6-star fighter. With this kind of strength, Mu Li back then was no longer worth looking at in front of her. The poisonous fighting spirit of the evil poison body has the ability to fight against enemies of higher levels. During this month, Lu Chuan also noticed the changes in Xiao Yixian. Grow up quickly. Lu Chuan's heart was filled with relief. When Xiao Yixian breaks through to the level of a fighting master, her practice will bring her even greater benefits through a tenfold return. Chapter 14. The next time we meet, it's still unclear who will kill whom. Jingjing, Look, what is this? One day, when Xiao Yixian was sorting out her belongings, she found a tattered parchment scroll. When she pulled it open, she saw that it was a picture. But this picture is not complete. Chuan took a look and found that this was the incomplete map he had taken out from the corpse of the old senior in the cave. Before, he casually threw the remaining map into the ring. If it weren't for the little medical fairy who remembered to organize the things in the ring today, he himself forgot it. Chuan asked Xiao Yixian to spread the remaining map on the ground. In the corner of the entire remaining picture, there is a lotus flower painted. This is a World War I map. The little medical fairy tilted her head to observe. It doesn't look like it. I can't tell clearly where this is. Of course. Chuan smiled and said, this map is incomplete. You should keep it for now. It will be useful when you have collected the other maps. You can't tell anything now. In fact, Chuan recognized the meaning of the lotus in the incomplete picture at a glance. But it's no use telling Xiao Yixian now. It was still too early for her to use the pure lotus demonic fire. In the following days, Chuan felt that it was time to teach Xiao Yixian some poison fighting skills for self-defense. These fighting skills are all from the Poison Emperor Sutra and are quite powerful. It's just that little medical fairy's cultivation is still a little lacking now. But no matter what, with these fighting skills, her combat effectiveness can be further improved. At the same time, in the Warcraft Mountains, Xiao Yan is undergoing hard training. At this moment, he had just killed a first-level monster that wanted to eat him. Since leaving home, Xiao Yan's strength has improved significantly. After resting for a while, he slowly opened his eyes. A gleam of brilliance flashed deep in his pupils. During this period of time, he has been following the mercenaries in the mountains to fight against monsters, and now he has the strength of a 6-star fighter. But he was always on the outskirts of the Warcraft Mountains. At this time, Xiao Yan thought of the fairy medical girl whom he had met several times. The safest place in the Warcraft Mountains is this big. Xiao Yan looked towards the depths of the Demon Beast mountain range. The Wolf Head mercenary group has gone to great lengths to find her, but they still can't find her. Where can this fairy doctor hide? They have so many mercenaries and they can't find anyone. How can we possibly find anyone? Yao Lao's voice emerged in Xiao Yan's mind. Don't worry about it. Improving your own strength is the most important thing. Xiao Yan's original purpose was to increase his strength. As for the feud between the medical fairy of Qingshan Town and the local mercenaries, it was not something he wanted to get involved in. That's right, strength is the only thing that matters. Xiao Yan smiled and said, but now, ordinary level 1 monsters are no longer my opponents. Then let's go deeper, said Yao Lao. He needs to let Xiao Yan face stronger enemies. Let Xiao Yan break the limit of his potential in the life and death battle with the monsters. Find it for me. I just don't believe she can still grow wings and fly. In the woods about 10 miles away from the valley, Mu Shi and more than 20 mercenaries have already conducted a carpet search here. Looking at the mercenaries whose enthusiasm for searching was about to be exhausted, he angrily announced loudly, whoever finds that little bitch, I will offer a reward of 30,000 gold coins. Since ancient times, people have died for money and birds have died for food. These 30,000 gold coins are enough to buy countless lives. In an instant, the enthusiasm of the mercenaries was ignited again by the gold coins. However, even though they had found the forest very close to the valley, they still could not find any trace of the little medical fairy. After all, this valley is too hidden and cannot be detected unless you look at it from the sky. Grumble. In the valley, Chuan crawled into the white silk cuffs of Xiao Yixian. Let's go out and look for some poisonous insects today. It's time to prepare a stronger poison. Little medical fairy turned over and sat on Blue Eagle's back with a sweet smile on her face. Then, under Chuan's instructions, Xiao Yixian flew out of the valley on the Blue Eagle. And her direction was towards the grove. Soon, she was seen by some mercenaries who happened to look up and take a rest in the sky. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, countless flares flew into the sky and exploded around Xiao Yixian. Little medical fairy frowned and asked Blue Eagle to speed up. Found it. When Mu Shi saw the little medical fairy in the sky, he ran away with a ferocious look on his face. However, the speed will be greatly limited due to the trees on the ground. Mu Shi had already tried his best, but he could only watch the figure in the sky disappear from his sight. See, this is the consequence of your kindness. Lu Chuan warned Xiao Yixian, if you don't kill those people, they will chase after you and kill you. The little medical fairy nodded, her eyes becoming extremely firm and cold. Don't worry, I won't do that next time. Besides, if we meet again, it's not certain who will kill whom. After her cultivation became stronger, her character had changed. Overall, it is to become more confident. She is no longer the little girl she used to be. After arriving at the destination, Xiao Yixian controlled the Blue Eagle to land. Roar. As soon as she landed, Xiao Yixian discovered that there was a second-stage early iron bone wolf not far away, howling at her fiercely. Lu Chuan did investigate and he discovered it a long time ago. But he wanted to train little medical fairy's practical combat skills, so he didn't say it. Jing, let's go quickly. This wolf looks difficult to deal with. The first thing Xiao Yixian thought of was to retreat. However, Lu Chuan jumped directly onto Xiao Yixian's head. What are you afraid of? Go get it, it's just a wolf in the early stage of the second stage. Believe in yourself. With Lu Chuan's current strength, it would be easy for him to kill the wolf in seconds. With him as a backup, Xiao Yixian can gain some practical experience. When Xiao Yixian heard Lu Chuan's words, she immediately understood that Lu Chuan was training herself. So she did not retreat, with the poisonous fighting spirit lingering around her body, and she looked at the iron bone wolf with the same unfriendly eyes. Roar. When the iron bone wolf saw that a little human girl was not afraid of him, he roared and rushed towards the little medical fairy to bite her quickly. Xiao Yixian tried to use her poisonous fighting spirit to form a protective shield, but the shield was very fragile and was directly knocked open by the iron bone wolf. However, Xiao Yixian reacted quickly and dodged to the side in a flash. However, before she could catch her breath, the wolf opened its mouth, revealing its terrifying teeth and continued to rush forward. Due to her lack of proficiency, it was too late for Xiao Yixian to release her fighting skills at this time. She could only rely on her fighting spirit to dodge quickly, looking a little embarrassed. Seeing that little medical fairy was gradually losing the upper hand and being chased and bitten by a second-level iron bone wolf, Lu Chuan was furious. What are you doing? Use poison, poison. You are a poison cultivator. Why are you keeping the poison you prepared if you don't need it? While roaring in disappointment, Lu Chuan slapped Xiao Yixian on the forehead with his spider legs. This awakened the little medical fairy. She immediately took out the bone-eroding water and sprinkled it on the wolf while dodging sideways as much as possible. Almost instantly, the iron bone wolf's entire body was covered in poison and turned black. Then he fell down with pain in his eyes. Chapter 15. How can a poison cultivator not use hidden weapons? Ever since killing the second-level iron bone wolf, Xiao Yixian felt like she had opened the door to a new world. In the subsequent battles, if you can win, use your poisonous fighting spirit to deal with the opponent. If you can't win, use the bone-eroding water to absorb the poison. With this set of fatal combos, there are not many magical beasts in the area where Xiao Yixian is located that can put her life in danger. So in the next 2 months, Xiao Yixian trained in the Warcraft Mountains under the guidance of Lu Chuan. During these 2 months, Xiao Yixian not only had to fight against powerful monsters, but also had to go to some dangerous places to pick medicinal herbs according to the 7-colored poison sutra and Lu Chuan's guidance. Most of these are highly toxic herbs or poisons. Even poisonous scorpions and snakes were killed by the little medical fairy. During these 2 months, Xiao Yixian has lost a lot of her immaturity. At least now Lu Chuan can feel that Xiao Yixian is already very capable. Since there were more medicinal herbs available, Lu Chuan also instructed Xiao Yixian to prepare several powerful poisons. Among them is a poison called backflow. It is colorless and odorless, and specifically corrodes fighting spirit. This poison has no effect on Xiao Yixian's own poisonous fighting spirit. However, once other people inhale it into their bodies, the first target of the poison's attack is the other person's dantian where the fighting spirit is stored. At this time, if the opponent does not want to lose all his cultivation, he must continue to suppress him with his fighting spirit. But the most terrifying thing about this poison is that the more fighting spirit you use to suppress it, the more powerful the poison will be. Even a Doupo strongman would be affected and have trouble when facing this kind of countercurrent poison. The strength that can be exerted is less than 1/10. This thing can allow Xiao Yixian to fight against opponents of higher levels more comfortably. After 2 months of actual combat training, Xiao Yixian's combat experience has far surpassed that of before, and her cultivation has also greatly improved. After all, there are so many poisons in this mountain range for them to consume. Not only the little medical immortal, but even Lu Chuan also improved a lot in his cultivation. Not bad, not bad. At this time, Lu Chuan was lying on Xiao Yixian's shoulders to rest. He looked at little medical immortal's current cultivation level and felt very pleased. She is already a 3-star Do master. Ever since Xiao Yixian broke through to the level of Do Shi, the effect of the tenfold return of her cultivation has become more obvious on Lu Chuan. Today, Lu Chuan has reached the peak of the 2nd level Warcraft. It probably won't take long to reach the 3rd level of Warcraft. Only then will he have some ability to protect himself. There is also a greater sense of security. At this moment, when Lu Chuan was thinking about whether he should increase the amount of poison he swallowed every day to reach the 3rd level monster sooner, the delicate jade hand of the little medical fairy stretched out in front of him. Lu Chuan followed the fingers and climbed to the back of Xiao Yixian's hand. Jingjing, I have something to discuss with you. The little medical fairy pursed her lips, her face seeming a little hesitant. Just say whatever you want to say. Lu Chuan could probably guess what the little medical fairy wanted to say. A human being stayed in the Warcraft forest for several months, and every day when he opened his eyes he saw the boring life in the mountains. Besides preparing poison, the next step is to fight with monsters. After a long time, people will get tired and bored. What's more, Xiao Yixian is a girl who loves beauty. It's pretty good that I've been able to hold on for these few months without complaining. Sure enough, the little medical fairy stared into Lu Chuan's eyes and said expectantly, Jingjing, how about we go out for a while? I want to go back to Qingshan town to rest for a few days. I haven't gone shopping, eaten delicious food, or taken a good bath in a long time. As she spoke, little Dr. Fairy's eyes became a little more sparkling. Lu Chuan smiled in his heart and agreed. We have indeed stayed here long enough, let's go back. Really, when Xiao Yixian saw that Lu Chuan agreed, she was so happy that she kissed him a few more times. Lu Chuan was helpless as his lips were covered with her saliva again under the attack of Xiao Yixian's sweet lips. In fact, Lu Chuan himself also understands Xiao Yixian very well. Even if she didn't mention it, Lu Chuan would let her rest in a few days. When it comes to cultivation, it is also important to combine work and rest. Afterwards, little medical fairy called out to Blue Eagle and flew directly to Qingshan town. In fact, after entering the realm of fighting master, Xiao Yixian has successfully practiced the flying fighting skill Eagle Wings. Although she is not able to transform her fighting spirit into wings for a long time, the fighting spirit stored by the fighting master, combined with the Eagle Wings, is enough for her to fly for a while. After her practice was successful, she was really excited for a long time. At that time, Xiao Yixian wanted to fly in the sky for a while almost every day when she woke up. It wasn't until I had been flying continuously for nearly a month that the excitement wore off. The Blue Eagle is moving very fast and has now arrived at the edge of the monster mountain range. Little medical fairy controlled the Blue Eagle to land. After all, riding a flying monster like the Blue Eagle into Qingshan town would be too high profile. If you want to go shopping, go ahead and then we'll go take a rest. Lu Chuan said to Xiao Yixian, after we've rested enough, we'll go to the blacksmith shop. Lu Chuan's idea was simple, he wanted to make some hidden weapons. In the Poison Emperor Sutra, there are also many methods of making special hidden weapons, and special techniques of using hidden weapons. There are many particularly high-end hidden weapons among them. Although hidden weapons of that level are complex, they are also extremely powerful. But with the current manufacturing technology in Qingshan town, we can just make some specially made fine needles. Then fill it with poison. Give a shot to anyone who makes you unhappy. Since we are all poison cultivators, how can we not use hidden weapons? They never win by direct confrontation. At this time, it can be seen that there are fewer mercenaries in the entire Qingshan town. I'm back again. The little medical fairy walked happily on the street, and the sunlight from the sky felt particularly comfortable on her body. Ah, it feels so good. In the forest of the Warcraft Mountains, there are not many opportunities to bask in the sun. It had been a long time since Xiao Yixian had warmed her body like this. For a little girl like her, holding it in for 3 months could really make her sick. Lu Chuan is a warcraft and is not very interested in things like sunlight. At this time, it was lying on the sleeve of Xiao Yixian, enjoying the girlish body fragrance wafting from her body, and by the way, it was using the probe to monitor everything around it. Soon, he sensed several figures acting suspiciously, their eyes always glancing towards little medical fairy. It's been so long, why don't you give up? There is no doubt that these people are the eyes and ears of the wolf-head mercenary group. But don't these people think that if they don't have the means to protect themselves, Xiao Yixian and themselves will come back? Soon, in Lu Chuan's 1 kilometer-wide holographic image, several people who were following Xiao Yixian separated and ran in other directions. I guess he went to inform Mu Shi, the leader of the wolf-head mercenary group. Lu Chuan shook his head secretly. Now the wolf-head mercenary group is not enough for Xiao Yixian to kill alone. If they dare to come, they will die. Chapter 16. Destroy the wolf-head mercenary group and the transformation of little medical fairy. At this time, the little medical fairy was shopping all the way. I want to buy all the things I haven't bought in the past 3 months at once. Look, this little girl looks so familiar. Hiss, she seems to be the fairy doctor in the clinic. It is said that the leader of the wolf-head mercenary group has been looking for her for a long time and wants to cut her into pieces. I didn't expect she would dare to show up. On this street, many people recognized that little medical fairy was the medical fairy that Mu Shi had been looking for 3 months. They all pointed fingers at little medical fairy. No one could have imagined that the little medical fairy would dare to show up. Mu Shi is a master of the fighting master level and the leader of the wolf-head mercenary group. With such strength, no one in the entire Qingshan town would dare to provoke him. Not to mention this terrifying wolf-head mercenary group. However, most people who can survive in this kind of world are not nosy people. So no one came to cause trouble for Xiao Yixian. Lu Chuan had already told Xiao Yixian that there were spies from the wolf-head mercenary group nearby. The little medical fairy doesn't care. She is no longer the doctor who had no fighting ability. It doesn't matter even if the wolf-head mercenary group comes to kill us now, because Xiao Yixian is very confident in her cultivation now. After being tired from shopping, Xiao Yixian found a restaurant to stay in. Of course, the most important purpose is to take a nice bath among the guests of the restaurant. After arriving at her room, Xiao Yixian prepared to take a shower. Fill a large pot of hot water in the bathtub. Lu Chuan was still thinking, if Xiao Yixian was taking a shower, then he might as well lie down on the bed for a while. But before he could say anything, Xiao Yixian put Lu Chuan directly into the bathtub. Then Xiao Yixian started to take off her clothes in front of Lu Chuan. I have to say that Xiao Yixian's figure is really beautiful. Before Lu Chuan could react, she had already taken off all her clothes. Oh, no, you're naked now. Lu Chuan stared with his 8 spider eyes wide open, looking at the naked body, without even a trace of cover. The little medical fairy tilted her head and glanced at Lu Chuan. Huh? Is it possible to take a bath with clothes on? Not really. After little medical fairy said this, Lu Chuan didn't know what to say. He could only watch little medical fairy step into the bathtub so richly and generously. What are you looking at, Jingjing? The little medical fairy looked at Lu Chuan curiously. Nothing. Lu Chuan sighed and closed his spider eyes. If he were still human, he would have had a nosebleed by now. The little doctor's breasts were full and firm, and her skin was silky and smooth. Lu Chuan could even smell the charming fragrance emanating from her. The waist is slender and soft, and the shoulders are round. Her long, straight legs are round, white, and tender, and her feet are small and exquisite. After looking at it a few more times, Lu Chuan felt that his spider body was also getting hot. Huh, Jingjing, why did you close your eyes? Did you faint? Jingjing, if you don't want to take a bath, why don't you climb on top of me? Jingjing. Looking at the innocent eyes of the little Dr. Fairy, Lu Chuan was speechless. Okay, stop talking, and take a bath quickly. After a long while, Xiao Yixian finally finished her bath. She was wearing a refreshing off-shoulder shirt and a blue miniskirt, and came to the window seat in the second-floor hall to prepare for her meal. Lu Chuan still held Xiao Yixian's jade arms in his sleeves, smelling the fragrance of her just coming out of the bath. Soon, just as Xiao Yixian sat down and ordered the food, he saw through the holographic image that some people from the wolf-head mercenary group were in disguise and were specifically poisoning Xiao Yixian's food. The people from the wolf head mercenary group are really interesting. They know you have the ability to detoxify, but they still poison your food themselves. Lu Chuan's teasing voice emerged in Xiao Yixian's mind. Maybe they have forgotten. The little medical fairy smiled indifferently. Of course, it is not ruled out that he is stupid. Soon, the food tainted with poison was served, and the little medical fairy began to eat it in big mouthfuls without any hesitation. When she was almost done eating, there was a commotion downstairs. The other guests were sent out. Wuxia came to the second floor with 30 or 40 elite mercenaries. As soon as he came up, he saw that the little medical fairy had eaten up all the food he had poisoned, and a sinister smile appeared on her face. "Humph, you little bitch, you dare to kill my son, then you will pay me back with your life." The little medical fairy looked at Wuxia with disdain. "It's your son who wanted to kill me, so he deserved to be killed by me." "Humph, the person is dead, so you can say whatever you want." Wuxia snorted coldly, "But my son is dead, and you are still alive. This won't work. Catch her." Immediately, several brave mercenaries rushed towards Xiao Yixian. The little medical fairy transferred the poisonous fighting spirit to her fingertips, and her figure shuttled between the people like a gust of wind. Almost instantly, all the mercenaries who rushed up had a small hole the width of an index finger on their chests. Puff! The ghostly figure of little medical fairy returned to her seat, and those mercenaries instantly reached the afternoon with dark faces. Smelly black blood flowed out from the hole in the chest. Seeing Xiao Yixian kill several mercenaries so easily, Wuxia's face suddenly became gloomy. This little medical fairy is so weird. Even he couldn't do this. At this time, Wuxia narrowed his eyes and looked at Xiao Yixian. Now he could only rely on poison. "Don't you like to use poison? I added the poison. I paid a lot of money to the food just now. Soon, your flesh and blood will rot and your whole body will turn into black water. I want you, like my son, to die from the poison." Wuxia's face looked quite ferocious. "Really, you can come and try." The little medical fairy smiled, and smiled happily. To her, that's tonic. The stronger the poison, the more she likes it. Next, Xiao Yixian did not hold back. Her palm glowed with black light and she flashed to Wuxia's side. Wuxia's expression changed. He is a low-level fighter. But soon, he discovered that Xiao Yixian was also a low-level fighting master. The moment Wuxia's fighting spirit and Xiao Yixian's poisonous fighting spirit collided, his fighting spirit was actually eroded by the poisonous fighting spirit. In just a few moments, his body was poisoned. How is it possible? Puff! After just a few rounds, the poison in Wu's snake had corroded its entire body. Finally, Xiao Yixian also stretched out her index finger and pierced Wuxia's body. The leader of the wolf head mercenary group was poisoned to death by the little medical fairy. Then, a sharp gleam flashed in the little medical fairy's eyes. The remaining mercenaries instantly had a bloody thread appearing on their necks, and then black blood spurted out, and they all died. After experiencing this battle, Xiao Yixian's heart was completely transformed. Now when it comes to killing people, I will no longer show any mercy. Since these people want to kill me, they all deserve to die. Very good, let's go to the blacksmith shop. Lu Chuan felt the changes in little medical fairy and said with great satisfaction. Chapter 17 Xiao Yan. Wow, this poison girl is too scary. What just happened in the restaurant spread throughout Qingshan town as fast as wings. Especially the sight of the little medical fairy with blood-red threads wrapped around her snow-white and delicate jade fingers, standing among a dozen mercenaries, scared the people who were slacking off outside the hotel so much that they almost crawled away. The news of Xiao Yixian's unclear killing method spread before she even left the hotel. Among the 20 or so mercenaries that Wuxia brought this time, there are almost all the high-end combat forces of the wolf head mercenary group. After being wiped out by Xiao Yixian, the wolf head mercenary group was completely destroyed. The little medical fairy clapped her hands. The poison in the food just now was not even as strong as the poison she had prepared herself. I'm afraid that Wuxia spent all that money on the dog. Then, Xiao Yixian walked out, stepping on the corpses whose skin was completely rotten and covered in black blood. Many ordinary people who were originally gathered at the hotel entrance to watch the excitement immediately retreated in panic when they saw Xiao Yixian coming out. Everyone looked at Xiao Yixian with fear in their eyes. Wuxia is a fighting master. He and his wolf head mercenary group have been rampant in Qingshan town for many years. They didn't expect that this prosperous mercenary group would be almost wiped out by Xiao Yixian alone. And who could have thought that the little medical fairy a few months ago was just a medical fairy who had a little knowledge of medicine? When she appeared again, she had transformed into a little poison girl. He is cruel and ruthless, killing people without blinking an eye. There are few people in Qingshan town who can pose a threat to her now. Look, she's going to the blacksmith shop. Are you going to kill that blacksmith Wang? Tisk, 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 shouldn't we run away now? Little medical fairy listened to the discussions of people around her, but she didn't care. Soon, she came straight to the door of the blacksmith shop. After opening the door, the furnace was still burning, but the entire blacksmith shop was empty. The owner of the blacksmith shop, Wang the blacksmith, had disappeared long ago. It seemed that someone had informed him of the incident, and then blacksmith Wang didn't even have time to extinguish the furnace and simply dropped all his tools and ran away. After all, the furnace can be recast, but if you lose your life, you lose everything. What should we do? The little medical fairy tilted her head and frowned. Fine, Lu Chuan said into Xiao Yixian's sleeve, as long as there is a furnace and iron ore, it will be fine. We can forge our own. A hint of excitement flashed in the little doctor's eyes. She had never experienced blacksmithing before. Then, under Lu Chuan's guidance, Xiao Yixian found the iron ore and took out a lot of animal bones from the ring. Bite, bite, bite. Even without a blacksmith, the little medical fairy could still do her job successfully. Although the process was a bit long, after several hours, the little medical fairy still managed to create a complete set of silver needles. The silver needle is very special. There is a very tiny gap in the front part of the needle to hide the poison. But it's not good to just keep these silver needles hanging on your body. So Xiao Yixian cast another iron box. This iron box contains the mechanism. As long as you press the mechanism, countless silver needles filled inside will shoot out from the hollow side of the iron box. Lu Chuan called this thing the rain of pear blossom needles. But now the flying needles shot out from here have limited power. After all, it is just an elementary version, and can only threaten a great fighter at best. In the Hidden Weapon chapter of the Poison Emperor Sutra, there are many methods of making similar mechanical hidden weapons. However, props without the support of advanced magic cores are not as powerful as those operated manually when launched. At least now this rain of pear blossom needles can improve Xiao Yixian's actual combat power to a higher level. Okay, with this, you can almost kill monsters above your level. The little medical fairy carefully poured the newly developed poison into each silver needle before loading them into the torrential pear blossom needle. Alright, now that we've packed up, let's go back to the monster mountain range. After watching little medical fairy put away the torrential pear blossom needle, Lu Chuan spoke up and reminded her, this time we'll go deeper into the mountain. Don't want. The little medical fairy pouted, I want to take another bath. After the battle and intense ironing, she deliberately lifted the clothes under her armpits and smelled them. She immediately made a bitter face, there's too much sweat on my body. It stinks. Lu Chuan felt helpless. He is a spider and cannot sweat, so naturally he doesn't have these messy smells. Soon, Xiao Yixian brought Lu Chuan back to the hotel. This time she just took off all her smelly clothes and threw them into the trash can. The little medical fairy, without a piece of cloth on her body, stood in front of Lu Chuan and started to ejaculate. The snow-white complexion, the delicate skin that was as smooth as a baby's, and the round shoulders and charming chest left Lu Chuan speechless. Is this girl seducing him on purpose? In such an erotic scene, Lu Chuan was really not treated as an outsider. Didn't even treat him as a human being. It's true that taking a hot bath is more comfortable. Jing, you feel comfortable too, right? He looked at the little medical fairy's slender, round, snow-white legs. The delicate jade feet are small and exquisite, and the calf lines connecting the ankle and thigh look very smooth. I thought the bath together before was already erotic enough, but now it seems that it was just the beginning. It's a pity that Lu Chuan is just a spider. Lu Chuan helplessly jumped into the water to calm down. I don't know how long it took, but after Xiao Yixian's snow-white and delicate skin turned slightly red from soaking, she was willing to put on her clothes and head to the Warcraft Mountains. Along the way, Lu Chuan was intoxicated by the milky body fragrance of the little doctor. Not long after Xiao Yixian left, a young man walked to the entrance of Qingshan town. The immaturity on the boy's face had been smoothed away a lot, and his expression now looked more resolute and mature. The young man still carried the Xuanzang ruler on his back, which symbolized his identity. Xiao Yan. Like Xiao Yixian, he fought and trained in the Warcraft Mountains for 3 months under the guidance of Yao Lao. From having to rely on mercenaries at the beginning to being able to kill first-level monsters with ease, he has grown a lot. But if you stay in the mountains for too long, you will feel depressed. He came down from the mountain to buy some supplies. By the way, take some fresh air and see some people. Now, 3 months have passed, and he no longer feels any burden carrying the Xuanzang ruler. At this time, Xiao Yan was walking on the street buying things, and almost every vendor was discussing the little poison girl who had just left. Little poison girl. Xiao Yan was very curious, so he listened carefully. That girl defeated the entire wolf head mercenary group by herself, and killed the leader who was a combat master. She also killed more than 20 high-level combatants and high-level officials of the mercenary groups instantly. She is too strong. Xiao Yan was deeply shocked. That little girl looks even a year younger than me, how could she be so fierce? Tisk tisk tisk. Yao Lao couldn't help but be shocked after listening to the discussion on the roadside. To kill more than 20 fighters instantly, even if it is a poison cultivator, it would probably need to be a fighter at the peak level. Xiao Yan took a deep breath. He recognized that this little poison girl was the fairy doctor who used to practice medicine in Qingshan town. It was only because he killed Mu Li, the young leader of the wolf head mercenary group, that he was forced to flee to the monster mountains. I never thought that in the same 3 months, this little girl would improve so much from not even a fighter. It seems that girl has a great opportunity. Yao Lao couldn't help but sigh. Later, they saw someone carrying a dead body out of the hotel. These corpses all belong to the wolf head mercenary group. Xiao Yan just glanced at the blackened corpse and didn't pay any attention to it. He still had to continue shopping. However, Yao Lao was very perceptive. Come closer and take a look. Xiao Yan was stunned. Could there be some mystery behind these corpses? But despite his doubts, he still ran over. Xiao Yan looked at the corpses with black wounds without any feeling, but Yao Lao remained silent. When Xiao Yan finished looking at all the corpses and finally saw that Mu Shi's entire body had almost turned into a pool of black mud, emitting an unpleasant stench, Yao Lao finally let out a long sigh. I didn't expect it to be. What happened? Xiao Yan was very curious. He didn't have much knowledge of poisons, so he only knew that this was the result of a highly toxic poison. However, Yao Lao obviously saw the difference in this poison. This poison is most likely the evil poison body. One could tell from Yao Lao's voice that he was shocked. Poisonous body? Xiao Yan asked Yao Lao in bewilderment, what is the evil poison body? He had never heard of this physique. It's normal that you don't know. This is an extremely special physique that I have only encountered once in all my years of traveling the continent. There seemed to be a hint of memories in Yao Lao's voice at this moment. It is said that there are only one person in 10,000 who possesses this physique. The person I met who had this physique, even if he was only a Do Huang, could fight against a Do Zong strongman. Although I still won in the end, the fighting power of a person with this physique is really terrifying. Xiao Yan heard this and flattered him in amazement. Such a powerful person can't beat the teacher. The teacher should have been the top of the continent, right? Peak. Yao Lao shook his head in self-mockery. Haha, he is just a person who stands out a little bit among the masses. Hearing Yao Lao's sudden low voice, Xiao Yan was a little confused. In his eyes, Yao Lao is already a powerful being that he cannot reach now. Yao Lao did not give too much explanation. But at this moment, many figures appeared in his mind. If we talk about standing at the top of the world, it must be the organization that hunted me back then. Well, and then there are those mysterious ancient races. They are the ones who control the world's top power. Chapter 18 Breakthrough to the 3rd level, Shuttle Talisman. Yun Yun appears. Warcraft Mountains. Deep in the mountains, a huge leopard shadow was rapidly approaching a running porcupine. This is the 3rd level magical beast Purple Wind Leopard hunting this porcupine. The Purple Wind Leopard is extremely fast, and wherever it passes by it's like a gust of wind. Seeing that the escaped porcupine was about to be caught, the Purple Wind Leopard happily showed its 2 fangs that glowed white, jumped high, and prepared to pounce on the porcupine like a cannonball. Today, I can have another delicious meal. However, just when its body flew to the top of the sky, a slight sound entered its leopard ears. Call out. Along with this sound, there was a slight fluctuation in the air. An extremely tiny object flew past at a high speed and then pierced into the body of the purple-winged leopard with precision. At a glance, the purple-winged leopard's pupils were dilated and without any light. The huge body also fell straight to the ground. It never saw clearly what killed it until it died. Soon, rustling sounds were heard in the jungle. The little medical fairy came out and skillfully took the silver needle back from the body of the purple-winged leopard. Yes, you have become more and more proficient in using your mysterious hand. Lu Chuan's admiring voice emerged in Xiao Yixian's mind. If you continue to practice for a while, the poison needles you shoot may even be able to penetrate the weak points of the 6th-level monster's body. Of course, this is all thanks to your good guidance, Jingjing. The little medical fairy smiled, cool and carefree. Then, she immediately took out a dagger and skillfully stabbed the monster's head. This is the habit that Lu Chuan asked Xiao Yixian to develop. In order to prevent some magical beasts with resistance to poison from pretending to be dead, they would take advantage of the moment when Xiao Yixian was careless and bite her back. This knife can definitely end the life of the monster. Then she dug out the magic core inside. After so much training, Xiao Yixian is now able to perform these operations smoothly. Let's go, we can go back after collecting some more herbs. Lu Chuan smiled with satisfaction. He was looking forward to the new poison he prepared today. This poison is specially concentrated, because today is the day when Lu Chuan himself is preparing to break through to the 3rd level. He already felt that his cultivation had reached a critical point, and that he only needed a strong dose of medicine to successfully break through. The tenfold return that little medical fairy's practice brought him was now somewhat exhausted, and he could not yet serve as the main force in his cultivation sprint. Good. Xiao Yixian happily put away the magic core, and then, under Lu Chuan's instructions, collected a lot of very strong poisons. Soon, they returned to their residence, and Xiao Yixian began to prepare poison for Lu Chuan. Since it is a double concentrated version, Xiao Yixian is very careful. Basically only Lu Chuan can withstand this level of toxins, and even Xiao Yixian herself may not be able to absorb it. Okay, Jingjing, drink it. The little medical fairy took off her gloves and placed Lu Chuan in front of the potion. At this moment, this strong smell was simply a full cultivation for Lu Chuan. His eyes sparkled as he drank in big gulps. Just as he drank the last drop of poison, an extremely powerful aura instantly burst out from his body. However, due to the system's cover-up, Xiao Yixian didn't notice anything. At this time, Lu Chuan's body became a little bigger again, and the outer shell on his body became more solid. He broke through to the 3rd level of Warcraft. Congratulations to the host for breaking through and becoming a 3rd-level monster. Closing square bracket. Reward the host with a breakthrough gift pack. Would you like to open it immediately? Closing square bracket. Of course, open it. This kind of system reward gift package is of great use to Lu Chuan now, so how could he possibly keep it? Congratulations to the host for obtaining the shuttle talisman. Closing square bracket. Shuttle talisman. Lu Chuan's 8 spider eyes were all closed at this time, and his consciousness went deep into his own sea of consciousness to check the newly arrived shuttle talisman. This thing is a jade talisman. Ability to store and mark 10 markers. This mark will not disappear unless Lu Chuan himself cancels it. As long as this mark is left, no matter where Lu Chuan is in the future, he can instantly activate the shuttle symbol and come to the marked point. This shuttle ignores any spatial barriers. Even interface barriers can be ignored. After seeing the introduction of this shuttle talisman, Lu Chuan felt relieved. This is really amazing. If it is really possible to ignore any spatial barriers, then this would be an extremely powerful way to save one's life. Even some powerful Do Sheng cannot ignore any spatial barriers. In this case, Lu Chuan thought that even if Emperor Hun Tian came to hunt him down personally, he could avoid him directly with the help of the teleportation talisman. With this thing, I am not afraid of being hunted down by anyone. Comfortable. Lu Chuan opened his 8 spider eyes with satisfaction, and then he saw the little medical fairy squatting in front of him with a smile on her face. The fork of the skirt was directly opened towards Lu Chuan. Really don't treat me as an outsider. Lu Chuan himself felt a little embarrassed and looked away. Jingjing, you've become stronger again. The little medical fairy laughed. Lu Chuan's breath has a system in place, and almost no one can sense it directly. But Xiao Yixian and Lu Chuan have lived together for so long, so they are naturally very familiar with each other. Just now, she felt that Lu Chuan's appearance and size had become bigger, so she noticed it. Lu Chuan smiled knowingly and encouraged, as long as you work hard, you will soon be able to reach my level of strength. Now, he has broken through to the 3rd level of Warcraft. The equivalent of a human master. Little medical fairy is currently just a fighting master. Even if the effect of her training was returned tenfold, the effect on Lu Chuan's body would no longer be obvious. Only when the little medical immortal breaks through to the great fighting master level, will the effect of returning his cultivation become obvious. The little medical fairy clenched her fists. Don't worry Jingjing, I will try my best. Lu Chuan nodded, and then the 8 spider eyes closed again. Now that it has evolved into a 3rd level magical beast, we need to see if the range of detection has changed. Buzz. A mysterious invisible wave spread out from Lu Chuan as the center. Just like a scan, the surrounding images gradually appeared in Lu Chuan's mind. The image spread very quickly. It was not until he reached the exploration border that Lu Chuan realized that the range of this holographic image was terrifyingly large. Lu Chuan, a 3rd level magical beast, has a detection range of 10 kilometers. Lu Chuan himself felt a little surprised. However, soon, before he could get familiar with such a large area, a stronger aura instantly appeared within the detection range. Lu Chuan immediately put the holographic image into operation. About 8 kilometers away from Lu Chuan and Xiao Yixian, there was a ball of blue light moving rapidly. However, since 8 kilometers away was the boundary of the exploration range, it took Lu Chuan some time to react after a careful inspection. However, the blue light ball was very fast. Lu Chuan only had time to see that there was a human woman in the ball of light before the ball of light flew out of the detection range. Chapter 19 Little Medical Fairy. Jingjing, do you think we should save her? With such a high level of cultivation, could it be? If you calculate the time, it's a strong woman who can appear in the Warcraft forest at this time. It should be her. Lu Chuan thought about it for a while and quickly guessed the woman's identity. It should be Yun Yun, the leader of Yunlin sect. After all, let's look at the timeline. Yun Yun was about to encounter the 6th level magical beast, the amethyst-winged lion king. Follow and see, should be able to reap some benefits. Lu Chuan thought of a treasure associated with amethyst source. This kind of thing can allow the little beast to reach the 5th level directly by devouring the companion purple crystal source when it reaches the 4th level. Maybe this time, it will be a great opportunity. At this time, Xiao Yixian had packed up her things and placed Lu Chuan on her shoulders. Jingjing, I'm done packing, let's go back. There's no rush to go back for now. Lu Chuan lay on Xiao Yixian's smooth shoulders, stretched out a spider leg, pointed in the direction where Yun Yun had flown quickly before and said, "Come on, I'll take you to see a good show." A good show. Xiao Yixian didn't know why Jingjing's tone sounded so excited. Is it because his strength has just increased? Moreover, in this monster mountain range, there are nothing but herbs and monsters. What good show is there to watch? Xiao Yixian didn't understand, but since Jingjing said so, there must be a reason for it. I'll show you the way. Let's try to keep noise low as possible. Lu Chuan's spider leg gently patted the little medical fairy. Although Xiao Yixian was very curious, she did not ask any further questions. Since Jingjing wants to go, then she can just go along. Then she did not let the blue eagle follow her, but flapped her eagle wings and flew low in the direction indicated by Lu Chuan. Now that she has been promoted to the level of a fighting master, she can fly long distances in the air by relying on the vibrating wings on her back. In order to save more energy, Xiao Yixian now taps the treetops from time to time, which saves more energy. Just like that, following the direction indicated by Lu Chuan, Xiao Yixian soon arrived at the location where Lu Chuan had sensed the ball of light. Is it here? Little medical fairy stood on the treetop in confusion. This place was surrounded by trees and there was nothing special about it. Wait a little longer, it should be soon. Lu Chuan narrowed his eyes. Roar. Suddenly, a violent lion roar sounded in the sky like thunder. Immediately afterwards, violent energy suddenly erupted not far away. The extremely violent wave spread out, and the grass and trees fell down directly. Hearing this voice, Xiao Yixian's body couldn't help but shake and she almost fell from the top of the tree. What kind of monster is this? Her face changed, and she was greatly shocked. Just the sound of her scream has such power. This is the roar of a 6th-level magical beast, the amethyst-winged Lion King. Lu Chuan's 8 spider eyes instantly looked in the same direction, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. Someone is fighting it. The little medical fairy's eyes widened immediately. 6th-level magical beast. Isn't that equivalent to a human Donghua strongman? Someone actually dared to provoke this kind of monster. Could it be that that person is also a Donghua strongman? Although Xiao Yixian's own strength has improved a lot now, she also understands how difficult it is to reach the level of a Donghua powerhouse. At this time, although the battle wave was very far away, it was still very strong when it reached Lu Chuan and Xiao Yixian. Let's go. I'll take you to see the battle between real masters, Lu Chuan said with a smile. But, little Dr. Fairy hesitated, if we are discovered, will we not even have a chance to escape? Run away. How could Lu Chuan escape? He was still thinking about his companion purple crystal source. We won't run, we'll just quietly follow him and see if there's a chance we can steal his advantage. Lu Chuan urged Xiao Yixian, don't you want to experience the battle at the Donghua level? Yearning for the strong has always been the driving force for progress. Little medical fairy felt a little excited when she thought about being able to observe the battle between Donghua powerful warriors. But if we are discovered, don't worry, I have a way to make them unable to detect the breath. Lu Chuan smiled faintly. He had a system that could even help hide the aura of the little medical fairy. The little medical fairy was persuaded by Lu Chuan, and she quietly moved towards the direction where the energy fluctuations came from. Above the blue sky, violent energy kept fluctuating, constantly erupting with sounds like muffled thunder. Even though she was far away from the center of the battle, Xiao Yixian felt her ears hurt by the noise. As the distance got closer, the sound even made Xiao Yixian feel dizzy in her ears and aching in her head. Is this the real strong one? Even if Xiao Yixian covered her ears, she couldn't avoid the horrible fluctuations. How horrible! Lu Chuan saw envy and longing in Xiao Yixian's tone, and immediately began to paint a rosy picture for her. The entire Duki continent is very big. What you see now is just a drop in the ocean. Lu Chuan's voice filled Xiao Yixian's eyes with anticipation. As long as you follow my instructions, you will be able to easily reach that level in the future. Yes, I will try my best. The little medical fairy nodded heavily. Let's go, get closer. Lu Chuan smiled with satisfaction. Afterwards, Xiao Yixian quietly moved towards the center of the battle. At this time, with Lu Chuan's system, he can help Xiao Yixian to block her breath. Even at such a close distance, it cannot be detected unless it is seen directly by the naked eye. Watching from such a close distance, Xiao Yixian once again felt the power of the Donghua strongman. In the blue sky, green and red each occupy half of the sky. It looks spectacular. At this moment, the monster in the sky looked extremely powerful. The body length reaches 7 or 8 meters. And on its surface, there is a layer of purple crystals. The head of this monster is a lion's head with a rather ferocious appearance, and its scarlet eyes emit a strange purple light. That bloody mouth was covered with terrifying white fangs. On top of the lion's head, there are rotating horns burning with purple flames. This lion also has a pair of purple wings on both sides of its body. And below the body, the limbs are thick and are also covered with a layer of purple crystals. Every time the giant beast steps into the sky, the space will tremble. Is this the amethyst-winged Lion King? Little medical fairy took a deep breath and looked towards the opposite side of the amethyst-winged Lion King. It was a human woman. Her plump body was wrapped in a plain skirt, and she held a green lightsaber in her hand. Her long black hair was tied into a noble phoenix hair accessory, and her beautiful face was calm and peaceful. Behind this mysterious woman, there is a pair of slightly illusory green wings. Fighting spirit turns into wings. This is the mark of a powerful warrior above the Do Wong. Above the sky, a mysterious woman stood calmly. Woman, why do you disturb my rest? The amethyst-winged Lion King narrowed his eyes and looked at the woman ferociously. The woman smiled indifferently, but the sword in her hand was pointed at the Lion King's eyes. I want to borrow the purple spirit crystal. The amethyst-winged Lion King sneered, what if I don't give it to you? Then I'll just take it by force. Then the woman took the initiative and rushed forward to fight with the Lion King. The fluctuations of the battle between the two attracted countless 4th and 5th level magical beasts to watch. The little medical fairy held her breath and looked at him with burning eyes. HMPH, Sealing technique, amethyst seal. The lion roared, and a purple light rushed towards the woman. Seeing that she couldn't dodge, the woman immediately launched a counterattack. The extreme of wind, meteoric death. The lion's horns were cut off. The woman also fell from the sky. She's falling towards us. The little medical fairy widened her eyes and exclaimed, Jingjing, should we save her? Chapter 20 Yun Yun. Sister Xiao Yixian, the spider you raised is so beautiful. Above the dense forest, a young man was flying by quickly. It was Xiao Yan who also sensed the terrifying fluctuations in the forest. Behind Xiao Yan was a pair of cold white wings. Under normal circumstances, Xiao Yan's current strength simply could not allow him to transform his douqi into wings. At this moment, his body was completely controlled by Yao Lao. These cold white wings were obviously condensed from Yao Lao's power. At this time, Xiao Yan's body was controlled by Yao Lao. However, Yao Lao, who was flying in the sky, saw the mysterious woman falling in the distance, so he had to stop helplessly and stand on the top of the tree. What a pity, I missed it. Otherwise, it will also allow you to broaden your horizons. Yao Lao sighed, then returned control of the body to Xiao Yan. Then Yao Lao looked towards the direction where the amethyst-winged Lion King and the woman were fighting. At this time, the violent power fluctuations had dissipated, and no matter how fast they hurried, it was too late. Looking at the situation in the sky over there, that woman should be dead. Don't worry about it. Although Yao Lao only saw the woman falling because of the distance, but if she fell like this in the depths of the monster mountain range, even if she didn't die now, she would definitely be killed by the surrounding 4th and 5th level monsters. Even if they wanted to rescue him, they would just go there to collect the bodies. What a pity. Xiao Yan also sighed. I wonder if that strong man is from the Gamma Empire. If you want to save him, then save him. On this side, Lu Chuan heard what Xiao Yixian said, and although his answer was very casual, he already knew what Xiao Yixian was thinking in his heart. She is still very kind at heart. Sure enough, the next second, Xiao Yixian flew over and caught the falling mysterious woman. What to do? Little Dr. Fairy turned her head and looked at Lu Chuan. She's unconscious. Let's find a cave to hide first. The amethyst-winged Lion King is leading countless magical beasts to search for her. In Lu Chuan's holographic image, he found a secret cave 6 miles away where he could hide. Roar. Search. Search carefully. I want that woman to be my food. At this time, the injured amethyst-winged Lion King seemed particularly violent, and the roaring sound made Xiao Yixian's ears hurt. But she didn't dare to make a sound, as a group of 4th and 5th level monsters were looking for the woman in her arms. Jingjing, what should we do? The little medical fairy was a little anxious. If they can't find a safe place, they will all be killed here. Don't panic. Lu Chuan looked at the movements of all the monsters in the holographic image and quickly determined the best route to the cave 6 miles away. Start from here. Follow my instructions. Lu Chuan directed the direction of the little medical immortal. Try to be as quiet as possible and don't make any noise. Good. The little medical fairy held the mysterious woman in her arms and carefully went in the direction Lu Chuan directed. Soon, she also saw the hidden cave and immediately went in. Only then did she relax. After putting the mysterious woman on the ground, Xiao Yixian quickly went to the cave entrance and sprinkled a lot of medicinal powder. These powders can conceal their scent and also instinctively stimulate the nasal cavity of monsters, making them not want to get close. After all these protective measures last night, little medical fairy was able to come and see the mysterious woman's condition. She is injured and needs immediate treatment. The little medical fairy frowned slightly. She saw 5 horrible scratches on the mysterious woman's plump and round breasts under her jade neck. The 5 bloodstains were still oozing blood, dyeing her clothes blood red. Without saying a word, Xiao Yixian quickly took out several medicine bottles from her storage ring and prepared to start treatment. This is her strong point. But at this moment, the mysterious woman slowly opened her eyes. Are you awake? The little medical fairy looked at the woman waking up with a smile on her face. The woman looked around and was visibly relieved when she saw that she was in a cave. It was you who saved me. She looked at Xiao Yixian with a hint of wariness in her eyes. The little doctor nodded, yes. The woman wanted to get up, but the pain from the wounds on her body made her gasp. Damn it, I was actually sealed. The mysterious woman muttered. At this time, Xiao Yixian saw the mysterious woman was about to get up, and immediately reached out and held her down. Don't move, the wound needs treatment, be careful not to leave scars if you move. Seeing the sincere look on Xiao Yixian's face, the woman nodded, thank you, just go ahead and treat it. You don't need to worry about scarring. The kind appearance of the little doctor fairy made her let down her guard. Then Xiao Yixian treated the wound very carefully. Hiss. The wound caused by the amethyst-winged lion king was very deep, and it was impossible to apply medicine through the clothes. The little medical fairy had no choice but to tear the clothes off the woman's chest. Only then did she clearly see that the wound on the woman's chest was so deep that she could see the bones. This is because the woman was originally a Donghua powerhouse, and her physical fitness was not comparable to that of ordinary people. A weaker person would have died long ago. The little medical fairy carefully applied medicine to the woman. You have to endure the pain, and don't let the monsters outside hear it. As a Donghua powerhouse, the mysterious woman certainly understood this truth. So no matter how painful the medicine was, she clenched her teeth and refused to make any sound. After the treatment, Xiao Yixian wrapped white gauze around the woman's chest. Then he curiously compared the woman's chest size, and then looked at himself. Well, I am still young and have room to grow. Little medical fairy could only comfort herself in this way. What's your name? The mysterious woman asked Xiao Yixian curiously. Why did you come to the Magic Beast mountain range alone? Of course it's for training, it can't be for traveling, right? Little medical fairy finally breathed a sigh of relief after seeing the bandage was done. Just call me little medical fairy. Experience. The mysterious woman looked at the little medical fairy. She discovered that the little medical fairy was not very old, only about 15 or 16 years old, but her cultivation had already reached that of a high-level fighting master. This is no worse than my own apprentice. Could it be that she is also the heiress of a big family? At this time, the little medical fairy fluttered her big crystal eyes and looked at the mysterious woman. I've already told you my name. What's your name, sister? The mysterious woman smiled and reached out to push her hair behind her ears. My name is Yunji, and I came here to get the purple spirit crystal. Unfortunately, before I could get it, it was sealed by the amethyst-winged lion king. Upon hearing the mysterious woman's words, Chuan, who was lying on the little medical fairy's shoulders, suddenly rolled his 8 spider eyes upwards. He was secretly complaining in his heart. Yun even had to use a fake name when facing the little medical fairy who saved her life. She doesn't look like a strong person at all. Yes, Chuan recognized her at the first moment. This mysterious woman was Yun. Just at this moment, Yun's gaze suddenly turned to Chuan on the shoulder of the little medical fairy. Little Dr. Fairy sister, the spider on your shoulder is so beautiful. Chapter 21. I have a lot of luck in love, but I am not lucky enough to enjoy them all. Yun looked at Chuan. For some reason, this little spider with a crystal texture gave her a very special feeling. She couldn't help but reach out to touch it, but her hand suddenly stopped halfway. If you want to touch a pet in front of its owner, you still need the other person's consent, right? Then she asked Xiao Yixian. Can I touch it? The little medical fairy chuckled. Well, Sister Yunji, I have to ask it. Ask it. Yun had a smile on her face, but she felt a little dissatisfied inside. This little girl looks quite innocent. Could it be that? Yun blinked her curious eyes and looked at Chuan. Could it be that this handsome guy could really understand what people say? Jing, do you agree? The little medical fairy then communicated with Chuan through her mind. Quote. Chuan was speechless, just asking in front of him if he could touch it. Is he such a casual spider? Obviously not. He didn't answer, hoping that the little medical fairy would know what he was thinking. As a third-level monster, he also has his own spider dignity. However, his silence had another meaning to little medical fairy. Because once the mind and body are connected, it is impossible for there to be words that you have not heard or cannot hear clearly. So when the little medical fairy saw that Chuan didn't respond for a full second, she immediately laughed, turned to Yun and nodded seriously. Sister Yunji, Jing agreed. In her opinion, keeping silent means tacit consent. As Xiao Yixian finished speaking, Yun smiled, and then her fingertips gently touched Chuan's crystal-like spider shell. In Chuan's 8 spider eyes, silence was flowing like a river. He couldn't really refuse. However, Yun's face was smiling as she came closer, and in Chuan's eyes, she was indeed very beautiful. This beauty's smile is indeed very charming. Yun Yun's beauty is mature and elegant. The whole person exudes that elegant and luxurious temperament all the time. This is very different from the current image of a playful and cute girl like Xiao Yixian. And now Yun Yun, in this cave, has taken off all her airs and burdens, and can show her true self deep in her heart. At this moment, she behaved very easygoing and elegant in front of the strange but kind little medical fairy. Even the smile on his face was extremely sincere. This unrestrained feeling made Yun Yun very comfortable. Of course, she felt comfortable, but when Lu Chuan looked at Yun Yun like this, he felt a little moved in his heart. This kind of seduction is a crime. Lu Chuan couldn't help but complain in his heart. Before, when Xiao Yixian was treating Yun Yun, he spent the whole time admiring this beautiful body on Xiao Yixian's shoulders. It can be said that every inch of Yun Yun's skin is deeply imprinted in Lu Chuan's mind. And those charming and beautiful scenery made Lu Chuan's heart flutter, and he couldn't help sighing why he was a spider. Alas, the spring scenery is so beautiful, but I am not lucky enough to enjoy it. What does it usually eat? Yun Yun touched Lu Chuan's entire body before returning him to the little medical fairy. Take poison. The little medical fairy replied as a matter of course, Jing Jing rarely touches other things. Poison. Yun Yun's expression changed slightly in an instant. She looked at her hands carefully, and felt relieved when she saw that they were not stained by any inexplicable poison. But she then took a step back without saying a word. Yun Yun was very surprised. Is this pretty little guy poisonous? No wonder some people say that anything beautiful is poisonous. But this little thing looks so docile, it shouldn't bite her, right? Yes, Jing Jing likes to eat poison the most. The little medical fairy then took out the bone-eroding water and poured it into a small container. Lu Chuan jumped down and started sucking the bone-eroding water. Bone-corrosive water is colorless, odorless, and non-volatile. It only shows its toxicity when it comes into direct contact with the target's body. So it looks just like ordinary spring water. Yun Yun looked at it for a long time but couldn't figure out how it was poisonous. She curiously stretched out her hand and touched the bone-eroding water in front of Lu Chuan. Before Xiao Yixian could stop her, Lu Chuan jumped directly to block Yun Yun's jade fingers. Tisk tisk tisk, the little guy is still protective of his food. Seeing Lu Chuan sucking so fast, Yun Yun really couldn't tell what the connection was between the water and the poison, so she thought it was just a joke from the little medical fairy. At this moment, Lu Chuan was so angry that his eyes were about to roll to the sky. If she touches this, won't the old wounds and new poisons erupt at the same time? Then the little doctor's first aid would have been in vain. Of course, Yun Yun didn't know any of this. At this moment, she raised her head and looked at the little medical fairy. Little Dr. Fairy sister, you came out alone, without any elders from your family accompanying you. Yun Yun wanted to pull Xiao Yixian aside to chat and get to know this girl who saved her life. Moreover, this monster mountain range is so dangerous, with 4th and 5th level monsters roaming everywhere, and your life will be in danger if you are not careful. No, I have no family. The little doctor's eyes suddenly dimmed a lot. She reached out and picked up Lu Chuan, then placed him on her chest. It's enough for me to have Jing Jing by my side. Seeing the sad look on little medical fairy's face, Yun Yun realized that she had asked the wrong question. She scratched her head a little embarrassedly. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked so many questions. She didn't expect that the little girl in front of her was actually an orphan. It's nothing, meeting is fate. The little medical fairy was not troubled at all. She stood up and patted her skirt. By the way, Sister Yunji must be hungry. I'll go get you something to eat. Afterwards, the little medical fairy came to the outside of the cave. When she came in before, she noticed that there was a pool of water not far outside the cave. When the little medical fairy came here, she saw quite a few fish inside. During these past few months in the Warcraft Mountains, she has done more than just improve her skills, she has also mastered a variety of survival skills. It is still easy for her to catch fish in this kind of pond. Then she dived into the water, and in a few minutes she brought up several lively fish. But her clothes and skirt were all wet. It made her whole body wet and transparent. Even Lu Chuan could see the little lotus leaves just beginning to show their tips. Little medical fairy also noticed it, but Yun Yun was also a girl, so she didn't care so much. Afterwards, Xiao Yixian grilled fish for Yun Yun and took off all her clothes and put them next to the grill to dry. Lu Chuan lay on the side and admired this scenery, which was different from Yun Yun. Xiao Yixian and Yun Yun talk about everything like little sisters. Although there was a big age difference between them, Yun Yun got along very happily after putting aside her airs as the clan leader. Soon, after the two of them ate the grilled fish, Xiao Yixian put on her dried clothes and found a secluded corner. Sister Yunji, you should rest early. I need to start practicing. Then she took the poison and began to practice sitting cross-legged. These poisons were still colorless and tasteless, and Yun Yun even thought that the little medical fairy was drinking water. Chapter 22. It's just a third-level small beast, and it can be dealt with an anesthetic needle. For the next 2 days, Yun Yun recuperated in the cave, and was basically entirely dependent on the little medical fairy for her care. This made the relationship between Xiao Yixian and Yun Yun quickly warm up, just like real sisters. After all, Yun Yun's body was at the level of a Duhuang powerhouse, and 2 days was enough for her to recover. During these 2 days, the two of them often sat around the campfire, grilling fish and talking about things between girls. Lu Chuan drank the poisonous water and practiced on his own. Then listened to them talking about some private matters. Over the past 2 days, Yun Yun has become more and more fond of little medical fairy. Sister Xiao Yixian, since you are alone, why don't you come back with me? Yun Yun stretched out her jade hand to help Xiao Yixian comb her bangs, which were wet from fishing. Go back. The little medical fairy looked at Yun Yun curiously. Where does Sister Yunji live? Yunlin Mountain. Yun Yun took a deep breath and looked at Xiao Yixian with sincere eyes. The scenery there is beautiful and it is safer than the Magic Beast Mountain range. I can take care of you if you live there. Yunlin Mountain. Little medical fairy tilted her head and thought for a while. Isn't that the headquarters of the Yunlin sect? I'm afraid it might be bad if I approach you so suddenly. Sister Yunji is a disciple of the Yunlin sect. The little medical immortal looked at Yun Yun with envy. That's great, it must be very comfortable to practice as a disciple of a big sect. Disciple. Yun Yun Bei Xiao Yixian de Wanong de Ku Xiao Budai, Nation Shenji Dui Ziji Zhu Ran Yang Jia Ming Zihu Yu Xiao Yixian Er Gan Wei Dao Yu Yi Si Qian Yi. He is so sincere, but he doesn't even know his real name. Oh, don't call me Yunji anymore. Yun Yun hugged the little medical fairy into her arms. She liked the little medical fairy more and more. My name is Yun Yun, and Yunji is just a pseudonym I use when traveling around the world. Yun Yun. The little medical fairy was stunned. She was just young, not a novice who knew nothing. She had heard of the name of the leader of the Yunlin sect. Sister is the leader of Yunlin sect? Yes. After the confession, Yun Yun felt less awkward. She smiled at the little medical fairy and said, so no one dares to object to you coming to live in Yunlin Mountain. If you want, you can also join the Yunlin sect, and then we can play together again. The little doctor widened her eyes. I see, no wonder I always feel that my sister has a very elegant temperament. Yun Yun, Yunji. Sisters all have nice names. Little medical fairy didn't care about Yun Yun using a fake name. After all, it was the first time they met, so it was right to be wary. Hee, let's go, little medical fairy sister, come back to Yunlin sect with me, and let me pamper you well. Yun Yun said with a smile while hugging little medical fairy. No, no, the little medical fairy shook her head and sat up from Yun Yun's arms. I probably won't be living in Yunlin sect for the time being. Little medical fairy looked at Yun Yun seriously, but when I have time in the future, I will definitely go to Yunlin sect to visit my sister. Seeing how decisively Xiao Yixian refused, Yun Yun knew that she was very determined in her heart, and that it would be rude of her to do so. Seeing that Xiao Yixian had such a character at this age, she felt a little distressed. How much did he have to go through to become like this? Compared to little medical fairy, her disciples are just little brats and are obviously too well protected. By the way, Sister Union, what are you going to do next? Asked the little medical fairy. Yun Yun frowned. I still want to get the purple spirit crystal. But she knew very well that it would not be easy to get it if she relied on herself alone. Little Dr. Fairy sister, can you help me? Me. The little medical fairy bit her pink lips with her white teeth. Of course I can, but I only have the cultivation level of a fighter master, which is a bit low. That's okay. Yun Yun smiled and patted her chest. Then I can use mystical techniques to pass some Do Chi to you, so that you can have the strength of a Grand Do Master in a short period of time. I will lure away the purple crystal winged Lion King. Most monsters don't dare to go to the Lion King's cave. You go to the cave and help me get the purple spirit crystal. Xiao Yixian nodded without any hesitation. Good. 2 days later, Yun Yun broke the seal. Now that she has regained her Douhuang cultivation, her temperament has changed a little. From a big sister next door, she became a domineering clan leader. Graceful and noble, more mature. However, the look in her eyes when she looked at Xiao Yixian was still quite gentle. In her heart, Xiao Yixian will always be her sister. They are sisters who have a lifelong friendship and a bond stronger than gold. Next, Yun Yun used a secret method to transfer some fighting spirit to Little Medical Fairy. Little Medical Fairy immediately felt the fighting spirit in her body becoming extremely abundant. Here, take this jade. It will light up when you get close to the purple crystal. Yun Yun gave Xiao Yixian a piece of jade, then transformed her fighting spirit into wings and flew up. Sister, come, I'll take you flying. No, I have one too. Eagle wings condensed behind the Little Medical Fairy. Flying fighting skills, Yun Yun was a little surprised. Hee, I got it by luck. The Little Medical Fairy smiled shyly. Yun Yun nodded. Now she felt more relieved. Then she flew into the sky and her aura spread out directly. Soon the amethyst-winged Lion King was attracted over. Yun Yun looked at the Little Medical Fairy deeply, and then lured the amethyst-winged Lion King to fly away. When Little Medical Fairy saw Yun Yun fighting with the Lion King again, she took the opportunity to sneak into the Lion King's cave. The light in the cave was not as dim as imagined. Little Medical Fairy saw some purple crystals inlaid on the walls around the cave. This was a natural occurrence under the influence of the amethyst-winged Lion King. In the human world, these amethyst blocks are very high-end rare decorative materials and are very valuable. This Lion King seems to be enjoying himself. The Little Medical Fairy continued to walk into the cave following Lu Chuan's instructions. Soon, she came to the place where the purple spirit crystal was stored. However, next to the purple spirit crystal, there was a small purple crystal-winged Lion King lying on the ground, sleeping soundly. However, don't be fooled by the fact that it is sleeping like this. The tail of this little amethyst-winged Lion King is protecting the purple spirit crystal. If you just go over to take it, you will definitely wake it up. Little Medical Fairy was frightened by it. She didn't expect there was a monster in it. Don't be afraid, it's just a small third-level beast. Lu Chuan was very calm. One anesthetic injection and it will be over. The Little Medical Fairy nodded, then she calmed her mind and gently stroked the ring with her small and delicate jade fingers. A silver needle immediately appeared in her hand. A smile appeared on Lu Chuan's lips. The capacity of this storage ring is much larger than that of the 24 bridges on a moonlit night. The Little Medical Fairy took a deep breath, and using the technique of using hidden weapons that Lu Chuan had specially taught her, she pinched a silver needle and aimed the needle tip at the soft spot of the small amethyst-winged Lion King. Call out! The silver needle flew past and pierced deeply into the body of the little animal. In an instant, the little beast fell into an even deeper sleep. Chapter 23 Yun Yun. Jingjing, how does it feel? Has the color changed? Seeing that the anesthetic injection was taking effect, Xiao Yixian became even more reckless. Now, even if you beat drums and gongs in the ears of this small amethyst-winged Lion King, or even hit it with your fists, it will not wake up. Jingjing, where is the purple spirit crystal? Asked the Little Medical Fairy. It's right under the stone over there. Lu Chuan saw the location of the purple spirit crystal through his holographic projection. Which stone? However, the Little Medical Fairy still didn't see it. Lu Chuan curled his lips, under the tail of that little amethyst-winged Lion King. You have to move its tail out of the way to see it. It's hidden so deeply. Xiao Yixian was also speechless. Fortunately, the little beast was now completely anesthetized. She moved her tail away, and then moved the stone slab away, and now she saw the purple spirit crystal. This is a fist-sized, irregular, sharp purple spirit stone. The Little Medical Fairy put away the purple spirit crystal and said to Lu Chuan, we have to leave quickly. If the big Lion King comes back soon, we won't be able to leave. Don't be impatient. Lu Chuan quickly called Xiao Yixian, there are more good things. It would be a big loss if you don't take all the treasures from such a good opportunity. What else? The Little Medical Fairy asked doubtfully. Just follow the direction I tell you to go. Lu Chuan showed Xiao Yixian the way and asked her to walk along the cave. Soon, the little medical fairy came to a fork in the road. In the center of this fork, there is a purple crystal platform. On the stone platform, there is a purple ball. What is this? Little medical fairy couldn't tell what was special about this ball now. But Lu Chuan's eyes lit up when he looked at the purple ball. Don't worry about it, it's a good thing anyway. Lu Chuan jumped onto the stone platform. Prepare the jade bottle, smash the ball, and pour the liquid inside into it. The little medical fairy nodded, took out a lot of jade bottles, then carefully knocked a small hole in them, and then took the jade bottles to start filling them with liquid. Soon, all 6 jade bottles were filled. The flowing liquid was completely filled up, but there was still a lot of liquid hanging on the inner wall of the sphere. The little medical fairy took out a scraper and prepared to scrape out all the pieces and put them into the 7th jade bottle. However, Lu Chuan was faster. He went straight into the purple ball and then showed off wildly. After sucking out every drop of liquid hanging on the wall of the purple ball, Lu Chuan burped with satisfaction. Soon, he felt a large amount of heat surging in his body. Lu Chuan's body was absorbing this energy madly. Soon, however, something went wrong. These burning forces were running rampant within Lu Chuan's body. A burning sensation that he had never felt before continued to attack Lu Chuan's body. The crystal-clear crystal case on the outside of his body also turned purple at this moment. Call. In an instant, purple flames erupted in Lu Chuan's body, almost burning everything. Fortunately, Lu Chuan has the power of regeneration and a strong physique. His body began to glow with a faint green light to resist the burning of the purple flame. Lu Chuan's sense of pain was very low, and relying on his powerful regenerative power, he directly resisted the devastating purple flame. Jing, are you okay? When Xiao Yixian saw Lu Chuan's color change, she immediately felt worried and asked quickly. While resisting, Lu Chuan jumped back onto Xiao Yixian's shoulder. It's okay, let's go. The little medical fairy nodded and then quickly left the cave. At this time, Yun and the amethyst-winged lion king had already reached the entrance of the cave. Yun glanced over and saw the little medical fairy running out of the cave. The little medical fairy gave Yun a brilliant smile. The plan was successful. Yun couldn't suppress the smile on her face. She immediately reunited with little medical fairy. Let's go. Don't leave. At this time, the amethyst-winged lion king rushed over from not far away with a momentum like a raging storm. Humph, I may not be able to beat you, but if I want to leave, you can't stop me. Yun's face showed a hint of coldness, and she turned around and slashed at the amethyst-winged lion king with a sword. The extreme of wind, meteoric death. In an instant, a violent storm arose and the amethyst-winged lion king was forced to retreat. It opened its huge eyes and looked at Yun and the little medical fairy beside her. Only then did he realize that they had already reached the vicinity of his cave. Walk. Yun noticed that the amethyst-winged lion king hesitated for a moment, and immediately took the little medical fairy's hand and left quickly. Want to leave? The amethyst-winged lion king roared and immediately chased after him. Yun frowned. The lion king kept chasing them, and it was not possible for them to hide in the cave they had been in before. Little medical fairy looked at the amethyst-winged lion king who was getting closer and closer, and immediately turned around and smiled at him. Lion king, are you sure you want to chase us instead of not going back to see your children? The words of the little medical fairy instantly made the purple crystal-winged lion king's pupils tremble. What did you do to my child? You'll know when you go back and take a look. Be careful if you go back too late or something bad might happen. The little doctor fairy said without changing her expression. The amethyst-winged lion king hesitated for a moment. Should I continue chasing him, or go back to check on the child? HMPH, don't let me see you again. The amethyst-winged lion king immediately turned around and rushed towards his own cave. That's great. What did you do to his child? Yun looked at the little medical fairy with a gleam of surprise in her eyes. Nothing. The little medical fairy laughed. It just anesthetized the child. Haha, not bad, not bad. Yun and Xiao Yixian returned to the cave talking and laughing. Did you get the stuff? Yun asked with a smile. Yes. The little medical fairy took out the purple spirit crystal from her ring and said, Sister Union, this is for you. Thank you. Yun happily took the purple spirit crystal. Then, she immediately noticed that Lu Chuan on Xiao Yixian's shoulder was different from before. Huh, she stared at Lu Chuan with her big watery eyes. Why did this little guy change color? You are the pervert, your whole family is perverted. Lu Chuan's 8 spider eyes all turned towards Yun Yun at the first moment. If he could transform into a human form now, he would be able to roll his eyes at Yun Yun from all angles. What are you talking about? How rude, because it swallowed some of the associated amethyst source. Lu Chuan had already explained everything to little medical fairy while she was running out, so she knew that the purple liquid would be of great benefit to the little spider. Companion purple crystal source. Yun Yun obviously also knew that this thing was very precious. Come on, sister, I have more here, take a bottle. The little medical fairy took out a bottle and handed it to Yun Yun. However, Yun Yun did not take it. She smiled and touched Xiao Yixian's head. It's enough if your intention is there. This is your good fortune. I can't take it. The little medical fairy nodded ignorantly. The two then spent another whole day together. The next day, Yun Yun said goodbye to little medical fairy. She still has things to deal with back in Yunlin sect. This purple spirit crystal that I had finally obtained needed to be taken back to Ji Yuhi to be refined into a pill. Chapter 24 Jingjing, don't die. Jingjing, where are we going next? After watching Yun Yun leave, the little medical fairy turned around and looked at Lu Chuan after a while. Now, no matter what she does, she will ask Lu Chuan first. If Lu Chuan has a request, I will listen to Lu Chuan. If not, I will put forward my own ideas. Next, we'll cross the monster mountain range. Lu Chuan thought that he had been in this monster mountain range for a long time and it was almost time to leave. But I hope that after leaving the magic beast mountain range, you can reach the level of a grand fighter. Great fighter. A look of anticipation appeared on little medical fairy's face. When she and Yun Yun robbed the cave of the amethyst-winged lion king, she briefly possessed the cultivation level of a great fighting master. At that time, she felt that her body was quite light and the fighting spirit in her body was quite full. It's very, very comfortable. Moreover, the cultivation level of this great fighting master is already very strong. Near the Warcraft Mountains, the leaders of some of the largest mercenary groups were only at the level of grand fighters. In some small cities of the Gamma Empire, great fighting masters are the foundation of a family and can bless the family to be strong and prosperous. Before, Yun Yun passed on the Do Chi to you, so that your body has adapted to the cultivation state of a great Do master. Lu Chuan was also looking forward to the tenfold return from the little medical immortal after she reached the great Do master. Your cultivation is now sufficient, and it will be a natural thing for you to break through to the grand fighter master. The little Dr. Fairy nodded excitedly. Okay. I will work hard to practice. Seeing the blushing face of the little Dr. Fairy, Lu Chuan was also very happy. Then let's go. Etc. Little medical fairy thought that since she was leaving, she couldn't take the Blue Eagle with her. Let's go back to the valley and say goodbye to Blue Eagle. Come back to see it when we have the chance. After all, he was her companion who had been with her for such a long time, so Xiao Yixian was still a little reluctant to let him go. Lu Chuan knew that Xiao Yixian had deep feelings for her partners, so he acquiesced. Anyway, it takes time to cross the monster mountain range, so 1 or 2 days doesn't matter. Afterwards, the little medical fairy came to the small valley where she had been before, stroked the blue eagle's feathers, and hugged its eagle head to say goodbye. Lu Chuan stood on top of Xiao Yixian's head and looked at Lan Ying, tears appearing in his eyes. It seems that this little monster is quite human. He must have known that little medical fairy was leaving and felt reluctant to let her go. But all good things must come to an end. Xiao Yixian and Lan Ying hesitated for a whole day to say goodbye, but finally left. Afterwards, Xiao Yixian put away her feelings of parting and set out to cross the entire Warcraft Mountains. If it were another fighting master who dared to cross the river like this, he would have died 1,000 times. Even a great fighter wouldn't dare to do this. Xiao Yixian's behavior may seem dangerous, but it is actually quite safe. After all, she has Lu Chuan. The holographic image that Lu Chuan is currently exploring can show real-time images of everything within a radius of 10 kilometers. Whenever she encountered some invincible 5th level or even 6th level magical beasts, Lu Chuan would ask her to avoid them in advance. It's like having a X-ray vision, you can go wherever is safe. Others don't have this treatment. However, it must be said that the entire world of Warcraft Mountain Range is still quite large. It takes them a long time to cross the river. During this period of time, Lu Chuan had the companion source of purple crystal to eat, and his cultivation level increased extremely quickly. It can be said that rapid progress is made. His strong physique, along with his regenerative power, could withstand the explosive and fiery energy. As Lu Chuan continued to absorb the purple crystal companion source, a ball of purple fire gradually emerged in his body. The beating of this purple fire contains extremely terrifying energy. Moreover, Lu Chuan discovered that the purple fire could also be added with his own innate poison, making its power even greater. These days, Lu Chuan also asked Xiao Yixian to try taking this purple crystal companion source. Although her body could not withstand too much of this hot and violent energy, even if she took just a tiny bit, it would have a huge impact on her cultivation. Finally, after many days, Xiao Yixian's cultivation level broke through to the Great Fighting Master. Boom! It was as if a thunderclap had roared inside her body, and she seemed to see the world with a lot more clarity. Jing, look, I've reached the level of a Great Fighting Master. The little medical immortal rolled up his sleeves and proudly showed off his muscles to Lu Chuan. Her arms, as delicate and crystal clear as lotus roots, looked particularly white in the sunlight. It looks like the skin is perfect and delicate. The muscles she wanted to squeeze out were not visible at all. Lu Chuan looked at the little medical fairy with great satisfaction. After such a long period of fighting, Xiao Yixian's temperament has also changed. Very capable. Now the little medical fairy has the cultivation level of a great fighting master, and with his mastery of hidden weapons and poisons, he is much safer when he travels outside. However, Lu Chuan knew that even the current Gamma Empire was just a drop in the ocean in the entire Duki continent. The cultivation level of a great fighting master is still not enough. Lu Chuan's own cultivation has now reached the late 3rd level. There are still 3 bottles of associated amethyst source left. This time, he drank 2 bottles directly. Although he is small in size, Lu Chuan is a 3rd level magical beast. The liquid will be directly compressed after entering his body. Chirp. 2 bottles of associated amethyst source. When this power was superimposed in Lu Chuan's body, the energy generated was extremely terrifying. Even Lu Chuan, who had already adapted to the strength of the accompanying purple crystal source, suddenly had purple flames erupting from his body. The shell on Lu Chuan's body turned into a bright purple-red color, and his body became hot, looking like it was burning. Jing. When Xiao Yixian heard the cry, she immediately looked at Lu Chuan anxiously. What's wrong with you? Suddenly she felt Lu Chuan's passion and was afraid that something might happen to him. Don't worry, I'm fine. Lu Chuan communicated with the little medical fairy through his mind. The next moment, he felt as if he could no longer control the purple flame in his body. In order not to affect Xiao Yixian, Lu Chuan jumped to the ground. In an instant, powerful purple flames burst out from Lu Chuan's body. Purple flames rose, and the entire spider's body seemed to be completely burned. Ah, Jing, you're burnt. Little medical fairy was looking at Lu Chuan at this moment, and she was almost scared to death. Could it be that Jing, who had accompanied him for so long and guided him in his practice, was going to be burned to death today? Little Dr. Fairy couldn't accept it. Her eyes were filled with tears and she quickly stood up to find some water to pour on Lu Chuan's body. However, the surface temperature of Lu Chuan's body is extremely high now, and ordinary water will evaporate before it even gets close. Lu Chuan's situation at the moment was indeed terrifying. His body tissues were continuously burning in the last second, and recovered in the next second with the power of regeneration. Fortunately, his sense of pain is very low, only a dozen times that of humans. Otherwise, the feeling of being burned in flames for a long time and not being able to die will drive people crazy. I don't know how long it took, but when the purple fire outside his body was gradually controlled by Lu Chuan and no longer caused harm to him, his cultivation finally reached the 4th level. P.S. It has 50,000 words now and is on the shelves. QQ reading is like this, and the big guys are all aware of it. After it is put on the shelves, you need to subscribe and purchase, or you can be a member and read it directly without any obstacles. It is recommended that you open a membership, 8 meters for the first month and 18 meters for consecutive months. There are many authors on QQ reading, hundreds of them, and members can read the books of these authors for free. In addition, many authors on Kidian.com also offer monthly subscriptions for free reading. So you can read hundreds of thousands of books for just $10, that's awesome. If you add a few more dollars and reach 22 meters, You can read hundreds of thousands of books on QQ Reading and a large number of comics on Kuiken for free. If there are any big guys who have opened a membership, I suggest you wait until after midnight when the words, "members can read for free," will appear on the homepage of this book, and then go in and activate it. Of course, subscription is also possible, but it is a bit of a loss compared to monthly subscription. Also, recommend a friend's book. The title of the book is Zombie King. Picking up a baby at the beginning is the rebirth of the Empress. Rebirth of the Empress plus survival in the end of the world plus Zombie King plus decisive killing. I, Lu Chuan, traveled through time and space and found myself turned into a zombie. In this completely fallen doomsday, I spent a month in a daze. Just when I couldn't stand the loneliness anymore and wanted to commit suicide, I found a baby girl who was about to starve to death. From now on, I am no longer alone. I, Ji Rushui, was the empress of the human race in my previous life, but I died because I was defeated by the Star Worm Queen. After rebirth, she found herself turned into a baby girl. Just when I was about to starve to death, I was discovered by a zombie. But this zombie didn't seem to plan to eat me. He even fed me milk powder and changed my diapers. Wait, he seems to have raised me as his daughter.